Chapter 2781 God King descends. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. He retreated a distance and did not continue to attack. Qiuqiu wanted to rush out several times but was stopped by Lu Ming. After all, there were so many descendants of ancient gods present. He was really a little afraid that Qiuqiu would cause some trouble. Gu Bo and the others tried all sorts of methods, but none of them worked. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, streaks of rainbow light flew over from the distance. It was as if meteors were raining down from the sky, and it was a very spectacular sight. The other people on the ancient god star had finally arrived. Could it be the ancient god's mountain? Didn't our zone leader go to the ancient god's mountain? Why did the ancient god's mountain appear on its own? What a huge door. What's that? Let's go and take a look. One figure after another flew to ancient god's mountain and the bronze gate. Get lost! Gu Bo shouted in anger, his heavenly god realm aura spreading out, causing these people to be shocked and retreat. The ancient god star was occupied by the dominators. The highest cultivation of those dominators was only peak real god, and most of them had died in the ancient god mountain. The people who came now were not more than stage 6 of true god. Under the pressure of Gu Bo, they naturally did not dare to act rashly. However, as time passed, more and more people arrived. They filled the sky, and the number was uncountable. Gu Bo let out a long sigh. With so many people, even if his cultivation was high, he couldn't suppress them. Moreover, the news would probably spread out very quickly. At that time, the major powers of the Qin Heaven starfield would descend, and they would be even more helpless. In fact, the news had already spread. There were not only natives on the ancient god star. There were also disciples like Lu Ming who came from the Qin Heaven 13 clans to train on the ancient god star. They had already spread the news of the ancient god star's change. And the bronze gate. Grand Elder, what should we do now? Someone asked Gu Bo and the others. Now the ancient god's mountain had been completely occupied by others. There were people everywhere, and they could no longer suppress the situation. Let's go leave this place. We'll find another place to live. This place is no longer suitable for living. Gu Bo heaved a long sigh, feeling very helpless. The other descendants of the ancient gods were also helpless. However, they knew that this place was indeed not suitable for living. When the powerful forces of the Qin Heaven star domain descended, they would definitely not be able to protect the ancient god's mountain. If they were not careful, they might even face the calamity of extermination. Let's go, Lu Ming. We're leaving. Take care. Gu Bo cupped his fists at Lu Ming. Take care. Lu Ming nodded. Lu Ming, let's meet again if there's a chance. Gu Xing also walked over to bid her farewell. Although Lu Ming had caused Gu Xiong to be on the verge of death, Gu Xing did not blame him. She knew that Gu Xiong had brought all of this upon himself. Moreover, Lu Ming had also saved most of the descendants of the ancient gods. Take care. We'll meet again if there's a chance. Lu Ming smiled. And NBSB, the descendants of the ancient god race, all left and disappeared into the horizon. As soon as the descendants of the ancient gods left, the crowd immediately flew toward the gate of ancient god, trying to open it. Of course, the gate of ancient god couldn't be opened with just a large number of people. No matter how hard they tried, they still couldn't open it. At this moment, Lu Ming quietly approached the ancient god's gate. Little guy, do whatever you want to do, but be careful. Lu Ming instructed Qiuqiu. Giggle. Qiuqiu immediately scuttled out, opened its mouth wide, and bit at the bronze door. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He stared at it nervously. Creak, creak, creak. Qiuqiu bit the bronze door ruthlessly, emitting an ear-piercing sound. Boom. The bronze door trembled, and a terrifying pressure spread out. What's going on? Nest. Many people were directly sent flying by this pressure. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed. Qiuqiu bit even harder and gnawed with all its might. Its sharp teeth actually bit into the bronze door. Squeak. At this moment, wisps of lightning spread out from the bronze door, emitting terrifying energy fluctuations. Not good, Qiuqiu, quickly retreat. Lu Ming quickly shouted. That was because the wisps of lightning were spreading towards Qiuqiu. Giggle. Qiu mustered all its strength and bit with all its might. Finally, he bit off a small piece of bronze and retreated frantically, but it was already too late. A wisp of lightning struck Qiu's body, and Qiu was sent flying. Ball! Lu Ming was shocked. He ran in the direction where Qiu was blasted, and saw that Qiu had crashed heavily on the ground, and was no longer moving. Lu Ming's heart beat wildly. He ran over hurriedly and realized that Qiu's entire body was black, as if it had been burnt. Lu Ming's heart sank. However, in the next moment, Qiu's round body rolled twice, and its big mouth appeared again, biting a few times with a giggle sound. This guy was fine. Lu Ming felt at ease. This guy. You're even willing to throw away your life for food. Lu Ming carried Qiu and scolded jokingly. Qiu transformed into a bangle and wrapped itself around Lu Ming's wrist. Its aura was very weak. Qiu had been struck by the lightning from the bronze door and was severely injured. I should leave first. Many people were already looking at Lu Ming. In a flash, Lu Ming left the ancient god's mountain and came to a mountain more than 100,000 miles away. He observed the changes of the mountain from a distance. More and more people gathered around the ancient god's mountain. A few days later, there was indeed an important figure who arrived. A terrifying character descended from the sect closest to the Qin Heavenly 13 clans. This person was enveloped in a divine light, emitting a terrifying pressure. Everyone was suppressed by this pressure and almost vomited blood. They all retreated frantically, leaving the bronze door. The figure stood alone in front of the bronze door. Boom. The figure suddenly made a move. A terrifying divine light blasted towards the bronze door, trying to blast it open. Boom. A violent boom erupted from the bronze door, but after the boom, the bronze door remained unmoving. Open it, die. The figure shouted. His divine power burned like flames, and an even more terrifying aura burst out. Many people's bodies trembled, and they spat out large mouthfuls of blood. They were almost crushed to death. Back off. Quickly retreat. Countless people retreated in a frenzy, terrified. What a terrifying aura. Even though he was more than 100,000 miles away, Lu Ming could feel a terrifying pressure pressing down on him. He could only retreat. He only felt better after retreating another 100,000 miles. Kid, that's a god king. Bone said indifferently. He's indeed a god king. Lu Ming gasped. This was the first time he had seen the king of gods in action. The power was truly earth-shattering and could swallow mountains and rivers. It was extremely terrifying. If one were to say that heavenly deities were the experts of the Qin Heaven Star region, then god kings were definitely overlord-level characters of the Qin Heaven Star region. Ouyang Qingxiang god kings were much more powerful than heavenly deities. When the god king was enraged, the stars exploded. Legend had it that when many god kings fought, they could even shatter an enormous life planet. It was enough to imagine how terrifying god kings were. Countless people stood in the void far away, looking at the ancient god's mountain. Boom. That god king made his move again, bombarding the bronze door. Boom. 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 The bronze door emitted a blinding light and blocked the divine king's attack. However, it also caused a terrifying vibration. Lu Ming and the rest stood in the void. The ground of the ancient god star was shaking. There were even cracks on the ground that extended into the distance. Countless people present were shocked by the might of the god king. They instinctively retreated a distance and watched from afar. Boom. Boom. The god king kept retreating, but it was useless. He couldn't open the bronze door. In fact, bolts of lightning as thick as a mountain shot out from the bronze door and blasted towards the divine king, forcing him to retreat. What a terrifying might. At the sight of the power of the lightning, Lu Ming was filled with fear. The power of the lightning that attacked Qiu earlier was not even 1/10,000th of this. Otherwise, no matter how strong Qiu's vitality was, it would only end up turning into ashes. It seems that you can't do it alone. A voice came from the distant starry sky. When the voice had first sounded, it had still been in the starry sky outside the ancient god star's atmosphere. However, by the time it had finished speaking, a figure had already appeared near the god king. The aura exuded by this figure was equally terrifying. Without a doubt, he was also a God King expert. You might not be able to open it either. The God King from before coldly snorted. Try it and you'll know. The God King behind him said coldly and attacked the ancient God Gate. A terrifying tremor erupted, but the result was the same as before. The God Kings behind couldn't open the gate of ancient God. As time passed, more and more experts arrived. The major characters of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans arrived one after another. Even the Divine Kings kept on arriving. And MBSB behind them, the major figures of the three hegemon factions, as well as members of the Kongxian sect and the other sects, had all sent their God Kings. Even the Ice Soul clan and the Red Flame clan had sent their important figures. Clearly, the appearance of the ancient God sect had already shocked the Qin Heaven star system. However, despite so many forces and experts' repeated attempts, they could not break through the gate of ancient God and enter the world beyond it. There's a formation here. Only an expert skilled in formations can open it, a God King said. Following that, the news spread out, and the experts from the Qin Heaven starfield who were proficient in formations also rushed over. This formation is complicated. It'll take at least a few decades to 100 years to break it. Finally, a formation master came to a conclusion. It'll take so many years. It seems like it's impossible to open the bronze door in a short period of time. I thought there would be a show to watch. I'll come back in the future. Many people shook their heads and left the ancient God Star. It's time for me to leave. This trip can be considered a complete success. Lu Ming pondered for a while, then left the ancient God Star and headed for the Kongxian sect. After a long journey, Lu Ming returned to Kongxian sect. News of what had happened on the ancient God Star had spread throughout the Qin Heaven star system. Many people in the Kongxian sect were discussing this matter. However, as time passed, the door still did not open, and the popularity slowly diminished. In the Kongxian sect, most of the discussions were about the sect compet. One time, there were a large number of outer and inner sect disciples in Kongxian sect. Therefore, a sect compet. 1. Tian would be held every once in a while, as long as one could show off their skills in the sect compet. 1. Tian not only would they gain fame, but they would also receive generous rewards. The sect compet. 1. Tian was in 3 years' time, and many people were already rubbing their fists and wiping their palms, eager to try. However, Lu Ming was not interested in this at all. During this trip to the ancient God Star, a large group of zone masters had died at his hands. The storage rings of those zone masters had all fallen into Lu Ming's hands, and he had obtained a large number of treasures and divine crystals. Therefore, Lu Ming did not care about the rewards of the sect compet. 1 Tian at all. If he had the time, he might as well cultivate. He did not see Qiuyu when he returned to his residence. Lu Ming guessed that Qiuyu was cultivating in the Divine Pulse Tower or some other place. Lu Ming sat cross-legged in the garden, quietly comprehending the battle character formula. Now that his divine body had improved by several times and his battle formula had quadrupled combat power, he could cultivate it. As expected, once his divine body improved, his comprehension of the battle character formula was smooth. Not long after, Lu Ming successfully broke through the bottleneck and cultivated to 4 times his combat power. Boom! Lu Ming's body exuded a strong fighting spirit, and his body contained a terrifying power. 4 times the battle power. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly. Now his cultivation was at the peak of the 2nd stage of True God Realm. If he were to display 4 times his fighting power, he would definitely be able to defeat or even kill an opponent like Lu Zhong. It's a pity that the chances of triggering a 4-fold increase in combat power are still not high. Lu Ming pondered. He had just made a breakthrough. After Lu Ming's research, the probability of triggering a 4-fold increase in combat power was only 1 in a few dozen. It had to be triggered dozens of times before it could be successfully triggered. However, Lu Ming was full of confidence. As long as he had a deeper understanding of the battle character formula, the chances of triggering it would naturally increase. Just like how his combat strength was doubled or tripled, it would reach a 100% success rate. Someone's coming. Lu Ming ended his cultivation, and his expression suddenly changed. He sensed that someone was flying toward his courtyard. Lu Ming opened the door of the courtyard and walked out. He saw 5 figures flying towards him. Wu Zifeng, Yu Linglong. 2 of them were Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong. There were 3 other people who came with Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong, but Lu Ming did not recognize them. It was obvious that a young woman was the leader of the 3. This woman was extremely beautiful and could cause the downfall of a city. This woman. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This woman's appearance was somewhat similar to Yuexin. 2 young men followed behind the woman, protecting her like her bodyguards. Lu Ming, you're finally back from outside? Yu Linglong asked with a smile. I just came back. Is there something you need? Lu Ming said with a smile. My cousin is looking for you. So, we came to find you as soon as we heard that you were back. Yu Linglong said with a smile. Your cousin? Lu Ming's gaze shifted to the young woman. Unfathomable. This was Lu Ming's first impression of the young lady. This young man's cultivation was unfathomable. Lu Ming could not tell how strong he was. Come, let me introduce you. This is my expression, Ouyang Qingxiang. She's my Aunt Yuexin's daughter. Yu Linglong said. She's Yuexin's daughter indeed. Lu Ming's heart stirred. When he saw Ouyang Xiangxiang, Lu Ming felt that Ouyang Xiangxiang was somewhat similar to Yuexin. Yu Linglong also said that she was her cousin, so Lu Ming had such a guess. Discussing cooperation with the Saintess, I'll tell you another piece of news. My cousin is the Saintess of the Kong Xian sect. Yu Linglong said with a smile. Holy Maiden. This time, Lu Ming was really shocked. Kong Xian sect had a total of 5 saint sons and 2 saintesses, and they were all qualified to compete for the position of sect leader. He did not expect Ouyang Qingxiang to be one of the 2 saintesses. Holy Virgin Ouyang, it's an honor to meet you. Lu Ming cupped his fists and greeted him. I've heard about you for a long time, Lu Ming. You entered the Kong Xian sect as the top disciple of the Qin Tian 13 clans. When you first entered the Kong Xian sect, you were only at the demigod realm. However, in just a few decades, you entered the true god realm and became an inner sect disciple. Such a cultivation speed is truly shocking. Ouyang Qingxiang smiled. I was just lucky, just lucky. Lu Ming said a few humble words and changed the topic. I wonder why Holy Virgin Ouyang has come to find me? I won't beat around the bush. I'm here to invite you to join my faction. How about it? Ouyang Qingxiang said. As expected. Lu Ming pursed his lips slightly. Indeed, Ouyang Qingxiang had come to invite him to join her faction. However, Ouyang Qingxiang, the saintess, had come personally. Her sincerity was not bad. Unfortunately, Lu Ming had no intention of joining any sect. He did not want to listen to anyone's orders. Holy Virgin Ouyang, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I don't plan to join any faction at the moment. Lu Ming said. You don't want to join? Lu Ming, you have to consider it carefully. The Ouyang Holy Maiden was stunned. She did not expect that Lu Ming would reject her when she personally came to invite him. That's right. Lu Ming, you should consider it carefully. My cousin is such a beautiful woman, and she's single. Yu Linglong said softly and winked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming touched his nose speechlessly and shook his head. I appreciate your kind intentions, Holy Virgin Ouyang. However, I really have no intention of joining any faction. Little brat, don't be ungrateful. The Saintess has already given you a lot of face by personally coming to invite you. Yet you still refuse time and time again. You really don't know what's good for you. That's right. This kid, doesn't he know the situation he's in? The Tianhong sect and the Floating Light sect both want to kill you. Do you know that our Holy Maiden is taking the risk of falling out with the Tianhong sect and the Floating Light sect by inviting you? Do you understand? The 2 young men behind Ouyang Qingxiang couldn't hold it in any longer and started to berate her. You 2 shut up. Ouyang Qingxiang scolded the 2 young men and made them shut up obediently. Lu Ming, if you don't want to agree, I won't make things difficult for you. I'll take my leave now. Ouyang Xiangxiang cupped her hands. Wait. At that moment, Lu Ming suddenly called out to Ouyang Qingxiang. Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes lit up. She thought that Lu Ming had changed his mind. Holy Virgin Ouyang, although Lu Ming has no intention of joining your faction, it's still possible for us to work together. Lu Ming said. Cooperation. Ouyang Xiangxiang was slightly taken aback. That's right, cooperation. Well, cooperate. Lu Ming nodded again. Kid. The two young men behind Ouyang Qingxiang couldn't hold it in any longer. One of them shouted. Brat, who do you think you are? How dare you talk about cooperating with the Holy Maiden? Do you really think you're the #1 figure? That's right. Our saintess controls a faction, countless experts and countless resources. What are you? What qualifications do you have to cooperate with our Holy Maiden? Why don't you take A.P.S. and look at the reflection? Ridiculous, simply ridiculous. The two young men looked at Lu Ming with disdain and contempt. You two stop talking. Ouyang Xiangxiang glanced at the two young men in dissatisfaction. Lu Ming smiled faintly and could not be bothered with the two young men. He looked at Ouyang Qingxiang and said, Holy Virgin Ouyang, you have to consider this carefully. Lu Ming's expression was calm and full of confidence. Ouyang Xiangxiang was in deep thought. But the two young men couldn't take it anymore. How arrogant. I'd like to see what qualifications you have to be so confident. What qualifications do you have to talk about cooperation with the saint? A young man roared and stepped forward, a powerful aura erupting from his body. He raised his hand, and the thick divine power condensed into a huge hand, which pressed down on Lu Ming. Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes flickered, but she did not stop him. She also wanted to see how strong Lu Ming's combat strength was. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng wanted to stop it, but it was too late. Stage 7 True God Realm. This young man's cultivation was at the 7th stage of True God Realm, and he was a heaven's favorite with extremely powerful combat strength. A huge palm print pressed down on Lu Ming. Whoosh! Lu Ming pointed his finger and a stream of finger force, like a spear's gleam, attacked the palm print. The palm print was directly penetrated by the finger force and collapsed. You! The young man was shocked. He did not expect Lu Ming to break his move so easily. Take this. Horned Dragon Divine Seal. The young man roared and activated a divine skill to the extreme, blasting it at Lu Ming with great power. However, the young man's cultivation was only at the 7th stage True God Realm after all. No matter how strong his combat strength was, Lu Ming did not take him seriously. It's my turn now. Lu Ming's cold voice was heard. A long spear appeared and swept out. Boom. When the young man's huge seal collided with the spear light, it emitted a dazzling light and then shattered. The spear light did not stop and continued to press down on the young man. Bang! The young man was sent flying by the spear light, and he coughed up a large amount of blood. This battle strength. Ouyang Xiangxiang's beautiful eyes were filled with shock. Lu Ming's combat strength had completely exceeded her expectations. A 2nd stage True God actually completely crushed a 7th stage True God Heaven's favorite. This kind of fighting power could be said to be terrifying. This guy has become even stronger. Even though Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng knew how terrifying Lu Ming was, they could not help but sigh. The other young man behind Ouyang Qingxiang was almost scared to death. He stared at Lu Ming with a pale face. Do you still want to try? Lu Ming looked at the young man and said coldly. The young man shivered and broke out in a cold sweat. He did not dare to step forward. His combat strength was only on par with the young man from before. He would still be crushed by Lu Ming if he went up. Impressive, impressive. Brother Lu's combat strength is unrivaled. I've seen many geniuses, but I've never seen a genius like Brother Lu. Ouyang Xiangxiang sighed repeatedly. Now, are you qualified to cooperate with the Holy Maiden? Lu Ming smiled. Of course you're qualified. If Brother Lu isn't, who is? Ouyang Qingxiang said. Although Lu Ming's current ability was strong, Ouyang Qingxiang did not take him seriously. What she valued was Lu Ming's potential. Lu Ming was so talented. If he grew up, he would definitely have a place in the Kongxian sect. It was not impossible for him to break through to the Sky Celestial Realm and become the 8th saint of the Kongxian sect. Chapter 2784 Gathering of Saints. But, I'm afraid that some of the heaven's favorites under the saintess will be unconvinced and object. Lu Ming smiled, as if he was implying something. Why would I? Ouyang Qingxiang smiled and turned to the two young men. Her face darkened. You two apologize to Brother Lu. Her voice was cold and stern, exuding a sense of majesty. The two young men's expressions were ugly. They walked toward Lu Ming with their heads lowered and bowed. We were blind before. Please forgive us and don't lower yourself to our level. It doesn't matter. Lu Ming waved his hand. Holy Virgin Ouyang, let's work together. I believe that you won't regret your decision today. I've never regretted anything I've done. Ouyang Qingxiang smiled, and the two of them chatted for a while before Ouyang Qingxiang took her leave. Lu Ming, you're getting more and more powerful. We're no longer your match now. Yu Linglong pouted and said, I'm surprised by your cultivation. Lu Ming sized up Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng curiously. Their auras were extremely robust, and their cultivation had clearly reached the 4th stage of True God Realm. It should be known that when they were in the Dark Dragon Secret Land, the two of them had just broken through to the 1st stage of True God Realm not long ago. In just a few years, the two of them had broken through to the 4th stage of True God Realm. Such a cultivation speed could be said to be shocking. Lu Ming had the help of the Quant 1 Tai formula and a series of fortuitous encounters to achieve his current cultivation. He did not expect that Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's cultivation speed was not slower than his. Some time ago, Zifeng and I went back to his hometown and did some ghost-like training. I thought I could far surpa you, but I didn't expect you to be so abnormal. Yu Linglong said helplessly. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. It seemed that Wu Zifeng's background was not simple. By the way, Lu Ming, Kongxian Sec's Intersect Tournament is about to begin. Are you going to partic? 1p8? Yu Linglong asked. I'm not partic. 1p8ing. I'm not interested. Lu Ming shook his head. That's a pity. If you were to partic 1p8, you would probably surprise everyone. Yu Linglong's face was full of pity. Both of them chatted for a while before Yu Linglong and Lu Ming bade them farewell and left. Lu Ming returned to his room and continued cultivating. The sect tournament of the Kongxian sect was a grand event for the sect because it was a compet 1 tie-in between the 7 factions of the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins. Each sect had many outer and inner disciples. In the sect compet 1 tie-in, which faction had the upper hand and which faction was stronger played a vital role in the future development of that faction. Some new disciples would make their choice according to the strength of their faction. It would even affect the opinions of some of the higher-ups in the sect, and it would have a significant impact on the future compet 1 tie-in for the position of sect master for a certain Holy Son or Holy Virgin. All the major factions place great importance on this. Therefore, in the past few years, the genius disciples of the various sects had all returned to the Kongxian sect to increase their strength and weight for the sect compet 1 tie-in. The Tianhong Saint Sons faction and the Transient Light Saint Sons faction also put Lu Ming's matter aside for the time being and focused on preparing for the Kongxian sect's intersect compet 1 tie-in. Lu Ming paid no attention to the outside world and focused on cultivation. Time flew by and 3 years passed, said in a flash. The sect compet 1 tie-in was about to begin. What was worth mentioning was that in these 3 years, Lu Ming's cultivation had advanced another step, and he had reached the 3rd stage of True God. At the Ancient God's Mountain, Lu Ming had absorbed the energy of countless ancient god flowers and condensed the heart of the ancient god. His cultivation had also advanced to the peak of the 2nd stage of True God. He was only 1 step away from the 3rd stage of True God. After 3 years of cultivation, his cultivation level had finally improved, and his combat strength had increased by another level. Of course, his divine body was constantly improving under the nourishment of the ancient god's heart. Although the speed wasn't fast, the effect would be shocking in the long run. Most importantly, he didn't need to spend time and effort to cultivate it, and it would naturally strengthen. This was the terrifying part of the ancient god heart. At that moment, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng came to look for Lu Ming. Lu Ming, are you really not going to partic 1p8 in the sect compet 1 tie-in? Yu Linglong asked again. Am not partic 1p8ing. I have no interest. Lu Ming shook his head. Then let's go and take a look. All the experts from the 7 major sects have come out. Many of the experts on the real god ranking list will fight. It will definitely be very intense. I wasn't even born in the previous sect compet. 1 Tian. Yu Linglong said. Kong Xian sect's intersect tournament did not have a fixed interval. Sometimes it was held every 10,000 years, and sometimes it could be held every few 100,000 years. The last sect compet. 1 Tian had been over 80,000 years ago. Real god ranking list? Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The True God Gang, as its name suggested, listed a group of the strongest true god level people. However, it was completely different from the virtual god ranking list. The virtual god ranking was only a ranking list in the Kong Xian sect, and it listed the strongest virtual god powerhouses in the sect. As for the real god ranking list, it wasn't limited to the Kong Xian sect. It would be faced with the Qin Heaven 13 clans. On the True God ranking list, there were a total of 100 top experts in the True God realm. They were all from the Qin Heaven 13 clans. Without a doubt, this ranking list had a huge influence in the Qin Heaven Star region. Those who could be listed on the Real God ranking list were all top experts in the Real God realm. Lu Ming was also very curious. How was his current combat strength compared to the top experts of the True Gods gang? Alright, let's go and take a look together. Lu Ming nodded. Then he Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong headed in the direction of the sect compet. 1 Tian. The location of the sect compet. 1 Tian was in the middle of the inner and outer sect area. There was a vast piece of land here, which was very suitable for the compet. 1 Tian. In the middle of the open sea, there was a huge fighting ring. At this moment, the fighting ring was surrounded by people. Lu Ming and the group flew over and blended into the crowd, not attracting much attention. The Tianhong Saint Sun is here. Suddenly someone shouted, and everyone looked in one direction. Lu Ming also looked over curiously. A group of people flew over. The leader was a young man in luxurious clothes. He had an aura and a confident smile on his face, as if he had everything under control. The people around him were all elites. They were all geniuses from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. Is this the Tianhong Saint Sun? Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold glint. Lu Zhong was from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. The enmity between him and the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction was growing. He felt that he would have to fight the Tianhong Saint Sun sooner or later. The sacred sun of reflection is here too. Suddenly someone shouted. Sure enough, another group of people flew over from another direction. The one in the lead was a young man in a white shirt and white pants. His long hair fluttered in the wind, and he was handsome. This person had an extraordinary bearing. He was the sacred sun of reflection. The people following the sacred sun of reflection were all geniuses. Lu Ming saw Huang Wen among them. The Supreme Saint, the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction, and the Sacred Sun of Floating Light's faction faced each other from a distance. Powerful battle intent filled the air. The compet. 1 Tian had yet to begin, but the scene was already filled with the smell of gunpowder. My cousin is here. Yu Linglong cried out happily. Holy Maiden Qingxiang is here. Then someone shouted. In unison, everyone's eyes turned to look into the distance, especially the male disciples, whose eyes were glowing. In the distance, a group of people flew over. This group of people was mostly female disciples, with only a few male disciples. Many of the female disciples were extremely beautiful. No wonder many of the male disciples' eyes were shining. The person in the lead was Ouyang Qingxiang. Is that Holy Maiden Qingxiang? She's indeed a national beauty. She's so beautiful. She's truly a peerless beauty. Many of the outer sect disciples had never seen Ouyang Qingxiang before, and their eyes were all shining. The Tianhong Saint Sun and the Transient Light Saint Sun also looked toward Ouyang Qingxiang, their eyes burning. Buzz, buzz, and MBSB whoosh. In the distance, people kept flying over. The other holy sons and holy virgins also arrived one by one. Holy Sun Ji Xia led his sect's people here. The Yenkong Saint Sun had led his faction here. Holy Maiden Xue Ten also led her faction to the battlefield. Soon, 6 of the 7 holy sons and holy virgins of the Kongxian sect arrived. Without a doubt, they were all unparalleled geniuses and unfathomable. There's also the Supreme Holy Sun. I wonder if he'll personally come this time? It's hard to say. The Supreme Holy Sun is the strongest of all the Holy Sons. The Supreme Holy Sun's faction is also the strongest of all the Holy Sons. The Supreme Holy Sun didn't appear in the last sect compet. One time. I hope that the Supreme Holy Sun can show himself. He's my idol. Many people were discussing this. Among the 7 holy sons and holy virgins of the Kongxian sect, the Supreme Holy Sun was undoubtedly the strongest, and the most promising one to inherit the position of sect leader in the future. Therefore, the Supreme Holy Sun's faction was also the strongest. In the last sect compet, 1. Tian, the Supreme Saint, didn't appear, but his sect still dominated, suppressing the other sects of the Saint and Saintess. 2248 in the last sect compet. 1. Tian, the Supreme Saint, didn't appear, but his sect still dominated, suppressing the other sects of the Saint and Saintess. Look, the people from the Supreme Saint's faction are here. Someone shouted. A group of people flew over from the north. There were many of them, far more than the other holy sons and holy virgins. Then, the Supreme Holy Sun? It's really the Supreme Holy Sun. The Supreme Holy Sun has personally appeared. Someone exclaimed in excitement. The Supreme Saint. Lu Ming's gaze also looked over. A large group of people was flying in their direction. However, Lu Ming noticed a young man in the middle with one glance. This young man was tall and burly. His eyes were like stars, and his face was as sharp as a knife. He was full of dignity and had an air of supremacy. Lu Ming knew that this person must be the Supreme Holy Sun without anyone saying anything. As soon as the Supreme Saint Sun arrived, the Tianhong Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others all looked grave as if they were facing a great enemy. The people from the Supreme Holy Sun's faction stood at the side and waited in silence. In just a short moment, many figures flew out from the depths of the inner gate area. The sect master of Kongxian sect, Long Zhoushan, had arrived. There were also some inner sect elders who arrived. Now the number of people is almost here. I announced that the sect compet. 1. Tian has officially begun. Just like the previous years, the outer sect disciples will first compete on the stage. The higher the ranking, the richer the rewards. Now for the outer sect disciples who have registered, I will draw lots to decide their opponents. An inner sect elder landed on the fighting ring and announced the rules of the compet. 1 time. Then he drew lots to start the compet. 1 time. First, the outer sect disciples took action, and the fierce battle began. However, Lu Ming was not very interested in the compet. 1. Tie-in between outer disciples. Moreover, there weren't many experts worth paying attention to. People like Wing Demon, Feng Yuan Dao, and Madman, who used to be in the top 10 of the virtual god ranking list, had already broken through the true god realm and become inner disciples. Now there were fewer talents in the outer sect, and there was a shortage of new talents. However, many people were still watching the battle seriously, especially those from the factions of the 7 saints and saintesses. They were looking at the geniuses from the outer sect. If they didn't join any factions, they could come out and invite them. The compet. 1. Tie-in between the outer sect disciples lasted for half a month before it finally ended. After that, it was time for the compet. 1. Tie-in between the inner disciples. The inner sect disciples compet. 1. Tie-in was the real highlight and would attract a lot of attention. Of course, not all inner sect disciples had to partake. 1-8. The rule was that only true God realm experts had to partake. 1-8. When one reached the heavenly God realm, because the number was too small and they were too strong, they didn't need to partake. 1-8. The battle between the true God realm experts. Each major sect sent their true God realm experts. It was indeed very exciting. Lu Ming was also dazzled by the scene. There were all sorts of different races, all sorts of divine skills, and even all sorts of secret arts. All of them had extraordinary power, and all sorts of divine abilities. However, on the whole, it was still the Supreme Holy Sun's faction that suppressed the others. In the end, all the major sects finally sent their top experts on the real God ranking list. There were only 100 people on the real God ranking list. When they were split among the Qin Heaven 13 clans, each clan had less than 10 people. Moreover, the number of people on the real God ranking list had always been dominated by the three overlords. Kongxian sect had a total of 8 people on the real God ranking list. These 8 people were all from the 7 Saint and Saintess factions. The other 6 Holy Sons and Holy Virgins had 1 each, while the Supreme Holy Sons faction had 2. Boom. Boom. In the fighting ring, 2 top experts on real God ranking list were fighting fiercely and colliding continuously. The experts on real God ranking list are indeed shockingly powerful. Lu Ming looked at it carefully and sighed in his heart. The 2 people on the fighting ring were both stronger than Le Zhong. One should know that Le Zhong had been at the peak of the true God realm for countless years. He had cultivated quite a few divine skills to the peak of the 4th stage, and controlled king-grade divine power, so his combat strength was not weak. However, both of them were above the music. The real God ranking list listed the strongest group of people in the real God stage. And it was not just for show. One of them was from the Tianhong Saint Sons faction, while the other was from the Wuxia Saint Sons faction. The 2 of them exchanged hundreds of moves. In the end, the expert from the Tianhong Saint Sons sect won by a slight margin, and defeated the other party. The Tianhong Saint Sun smiled, while the Wuxia Saint Sun looked gloomy. The combat 1. Tian continued, and it was already at the final stage. It was all the battles between experts on the real God ranking list, and every match was extremely exciting. A few more days passed. Said before the combat 1. Tian finally ended. This time, it was still the Supreme Holy Sons faction that suppressed everyone else and took first place in overall strength. There was one person from the Supreme Saint Sons faction who was terrifyingly powerful. He was ranked 6th on the Real God ranking list. The top 10 of the Real God ranking list were mostly occupied by the 3 overlord forces. They were ranked 6th on the Real God ranking list, which showed how powerful they were. This person was the number 1 true God expert of the Kongxian sect, and there was no doubt that the Supreme Holy Sons faction would be the number 1. Bestowing Lu Ming with the T.I. Plea of Saint the combat 1. Tian was over, and the rewards were given out. After this battle, the prestige of the Supreme Holy Sons faction naturally rose to another level. No one could compare to it. The other Holy Sons and Holy Virgins all looked solemn. If this continued, the position of the future sect master would probably fall to the Supreme Holy Son. I must get that thing. That way, I will be able to fight against the Supreme Holy Son. The Tianhong Saint Sun clenched his fists. Alright, I hereby announce that the sect combat 1. Tian has officially ended. The sect leader of Kongxian sect, Long Zhousan's voice resounded throughout the entire area. However, he paused for a moment before he continued. However, I still have a big announcement to make today. There's something big to announce? Many people were stunned and revealed curious expressions. Even most of the inner sect elders revealed curious expressions. It was obvious that they didn't know what Dragon Boat Mountain was going to announce. Today I'm going to confer a new Saint T.I. Tli. The voices of Dragon Boat Mountain rang out together. What? A new Holy Son? He's going to be made a saint? This is a big deal, but there hasn't been anyone suitable for it recently. That's right. The only suitable candidate is the number 2 figure from the Supreme Holy Sons faction. Is he going to be independent? The Dragon Boats Mountain's words caused the entire place to clamor. Everyone was speculating who the Dragon Boats Mountain was going to confer as the son of saint. It was not that easy to become a saint. First, one had to be a heavenly god, and the divine power they could control had to be above the divine grade. Only by fulfilling these 2 conditions would one be qualified. And now, there was only one person who fulfilled these 2 conditions, and that was the second in command of the Supreme Sect. This person was also a peerless genius. Back then he had the opportunity to be conferred the T.I. Tli of Saint. However, he gave up the position of saint, and sided with the Supreme Saint. This caused a huge uproar back then. The 7 Holy Sons and Holy Virgins also frowned. The eighth saint was about to appear. Canonizing a son was a big deal. It meant that their compact one time would be even greater. Furthermore, every additional son would have a huge impact on the current situation. Everyone was trying to guess who the Dragon Boat's mountain was going to confer upon as their saint. However, they didn't feel confident. Then, everyone's gazes fell on Dragon Boat Mountain, waiting for their answer. The dragon boat stood high in the sky and looked around. Their gaze finally landed on Lu Ming and they said loudly, "The Holy Son I'm going to confer on him is Lu Ming." As he said that, Dragon Boat Mountain pointed at Lu Ming. Everyone's eyes were focused on Lu Ming. Then, the entire place fell into a dead silence. Lu Ming was also dumbfounded. He had never expected that the new saint that Dragon Boat Mountain was going to confer upon him would actually be him. Initially, just like the others, he was curious to know who the newly conferred son was. He did not expect it to be him. For a moment, he couldn't quite wrap his head around it. "Lu Ming, this is a mission I'm giving you. You must accept the position of the Holy Son." Lu Ming heard the voice of the Dragon Boat Mountain. "What the hell is this old man doing?" Lu Ming finally calmed down slowly, and his mind was racing. He didn't think that Dragon Boat's mountain had good intentions. This old fellow had placed the dark dragon blood curse in his body, so he definitely didn't have good intentions. "Lu Ming, you've become a saint. Bull. You're awesome, brother." Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were also dumbfounded, and could not recover from their shock for a long time. "It's him. Is he the son that the sect master is going to confer on you?" Everyone stared at Lu Ming, dumbfounded. "The key is, who is he?" "Yeah, I've never seen him before." Many people shouted. After all, Lu Ming had only joined the Kongxian sect for a few decades, while many people would go into seclusion for hundreds or thousands of years. Most people had not seen Lu Ming before. "It's him. I know him. He just entered the sect decades ago." "What? He was conferred the Tlea of Holy Son when he just entered the sect decades ago? You must be joking." "Shush. Lower your voice. Be careful not to be heard by the sect master." But how is this kid qualified to be the saint? The scene was in an uproar. Lu Ming, a person who had just joined the sect a few decades ago, was actually conferred the Tlea of Saint. What was going on? "It's this brat, the Tianhong Saint's son, the transient light saint's son," and the others all glared at Lu Ming with sword-like eyes. "Sect master, this subordinate feels that this matter is inappropriate." At this moment, an old man walked out and cupped his fists towards the Dragon Boat Mountain. "What's wrong with it?" Dragon Boat Mountain said indifferently. "Lu Ming has only joined the sect for a few decades. His current cultivation base has only broken through to true God not long ago. No matter how you look at it, he doesn't have the right to confer the Tlea of a saint," the old man said. The elder was an inner elder and Ing Song's master. He was from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. Ing Song, the heaven's favorite who was ranked 4th on the virtual god ranking list, had been secretly taken in as a disciple by this person. Later on, he was killed by Lu Ming in the Dark Dragon secret realm. And this person had always hated Lu Ming. Since Dragon Boat's Mountain wanted to confer Lu Ming the Tlea of the Holy Son, he naturally had to step out and oppose it. "That's right, sect master, you must not do this." Following that, a few more inner court elders stepped forward to object. It was obvious that these inner elders all belonged to the factions of the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins. "Are you all doubting me?" Dragon Boat Mountain said indifferently, yet he had a terrifying might. The few inner court elders were shocked and quickly said, "I'm not questioning you, sect master. It's just that the appointment of a saint is a big matter, after all. Sect master should consider it carefully." "That's right. The sect leader, Holy Son, and Holy Virgin are all peerless geniuses. Not everyone is suitable and qualified." The Tianhong Saint Sun stepped forward and bowed to the Dragon Boat Mountain. "Tianhong is right. To become the Holy Son, 2 conditions must be met. First, one must master the divine grade divine power. Second, one must reach the heavenly God realm. Lu Ming is only at the true God realm. How can he be qualified to be the Holy Son? Sect leader, Please retract your order. The sacred son of reflection also stepped out and cupped his fists. Dragon Boat Mountain frowned. In the Kongxian sect, the status of the holy sons and holy virgins was even higher than that of the inner elders. The holy sons and holy virgins were all peerless geniuses. It wouldn't be a problem for them to step into the divine king realm and become the overlord of a region. Their words would carry much more weight than the inner sect elders. After that, the Saint Sun Jixia, the Saint Sun Yenkong, and the Saint Daughter Shuetan all spoke, persuading the Dragon Boat Mountain to take back their orders. Only 2 of the 7 holy sons and holy virgins didn't speak. The first was the Supreme Holy Son. He only sized Lu Ming up curiously, his eyes glistening, but he did not say anything. Naturally, Ouyang Xiangxiang would not say much. She and Lu Ming were partners. If Lu Ming could become the saint, he would be of greater help to her. She hoped that Lu Ming would become the saint. Chapter 2787. Can even fight true gods. Lu Ming looked on quietly and did not say a word. He had been thinking about the purpose of Dragon Boat Mountain's actions. The dragon boat's intention was to push him into the eye of the storm and put pressure on him so that he could improve even faster, and then work for him? Lu Ming felt that this was the most likely possibility. Are you guys doubting my judgment? Dragon Boat Mountain said indifferently, his voice turning cold. The Tianhong Saint Sun, the sacred son of reflection, and the others didn't say anything else, but their expressions said it all. They opposed it. All right, since that's the case, I'll give you a chance. Dragon Boat Mountain's gaze became incomparably sharp as he said, each of your major sects can send a true god stage expert to challenge Lu Ming. If anyone can defeat Lu Ming, I will retract my order and cancel the Ti. If no true god can defeat Lu Ming, then Lu Ming will become the new holy son. Do you have any objections? The Dragon Boat Mountain's words caused many people's hearts to tremble. All the true gods from the major sects could challenge Lu Ming. If they won, Lu Ming would not be able to become the saint. What is Lu Ming's cultivation level? Someone quickly asked. I've seen it. It's 3rd stage true god. Someone said. Those whose cultivation levels were much higher than Lu Ming's could still tell Lu Ming's cultivation level at a glance. What? Only at stage 3 true god realm? With such a low cultivation, any true god realm expert should be able to defeat him. That's right, it's strange. What does Sect Master mean by this condition? We definitely can't win against Lu Ming. Strange, this is strange. Many people were puzzled. Dragon Boat's Mountain seemed to want to confer Lu Ming the Ti of the Holy Sun. However, the conditions that they offered clearly showed that they did not want Lu Ming to be the Holy Sun. No one would think that a stage 3 true god could win against those true god geniuses from the 7 great factions. What a joke. Stage 3 real god was just a low-rank real god. How could he compete with those middle-rank and high-rank real gods? Especially when the 7 major sects had experts on the real god ranking list. Those existences could kill Lu Ming with one finger. There was no comparison at all. The eyes of the Tianhong Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the others also lit up. Although they knew that Lu Ming's combat strength was very strong, there was a limit to it. He could not possibly be a match for those high-level true gods. From their point of view, Dragon Boat Mountain's actions were only to give them a way out. All right, I agree to this suggestion. I also agree. The Tianhong Saint Sun and the Transient Light Saint Sun immediately expressed their opinions. The other holy sons and holy virgins also agreed. Lu Ming, do you dare to accept my challenge? Dragon Boat Mountain's gaze landed on Lu Ming again. Why wouldn't I? Lu Ming said loudly. Since things had come to this, it was obvious that the Dragon Boat's Mountain wanted him to take over the position of the Holy Sun. He would take it then. Lu Ming was not someone who was afraid of trouble. Whoa, this guy really dares to accept the challenge. He's really not afraid of death. Even if he doesn't die, he'll be abused. There's a good show to watch. Many people sneered and looked like they were watching a good show. Lu Ming, good luck. I hope you can successfully become a saint. Yu Linglong waved her fists and cheered for Lu Ming. Brother Lu, you can definitely do it. Wu Zifeng also patted Lu Ming's shoulder. They had seen Lu Ming suppress Ouyang Qingxiang's two subordinates. They were extremely powerful. If Lu Ming were to take action, he might have a chance of winning. Sect Master, can we fight to the death in this battle? The Tian Hong Saint Sun said, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. Since you want to fight, then let's fight to the death. Dragon Boat Mountain said. Regardless of life and death, that meant that he could kill. This kid is finished. Many people looked at him with pity, thinking that Lu Ming was dead for sure. I'm going to fight this kid. A voice was heard. A young man from the Sacred Son of Floating Lights faction stepped down and landed on the fighting ring. It's Huang Wen. Huang Wen is about to make his move. Someone shouted. That's right, this person was Huang Wen. Huang Wen is at the 8th stage of True God realm. To deal with a mere 3rd stage True God, once he makes a move, he uses an 8th stage True God. This is also making a mountain out of a molehill. He's indeed making a mountain out of a molehill. However, I heard that Huang Wen has a grudge against Lu Ming. I guess that's why he took action. I see. He's trying to seize the opportunity to kill Lu Ming. Many people were discussing. Big brother, kill him for me, haha. In the crowd, Huang Wu roared in his heart, as if he could already see the scene of Huang Wen killing Lu Ming. Boom. Huang Wen landed on the fighting ring. He exuded a powerful aura that pressed down on Lu Ming. Kid, how do you want to die? Speak. Huang Wen's cold voice sounded. He was full of confidence in himself. He was also a genius. Moreover, his cultivation had reached stage 8 True God. Dealing with a stage 3 True God was absolutely a matter of certainty. Unfortunately, he did not know that 2 of the Floating Light Saint Sun's sex elites had already died at Lu Ming's hands. He did not know that Le Zhong had also died at Lu Ming's hands. They only knew that Lu Ming had gone out for a while and returned safely. They did not know that those people had been killed by Lu Ming. They only thought that those people had not found Lu Ming. If he had known that Lu Ming had already killed those people, Huang Wen would not have been so confident. You talk too much. Make your move. I'll give you your last chance. Lu Ming said indifferently. Big words, Storm Fist. Huang Wen shouted coldly and threw a punch at Lu Ming. With a punch, a rumbling explosion came from the sky. It was like a huge wave that surged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression was calm. He condensed a long spear with divine power in his palm. 5 divine flames burned fiercely. Endless divine power gathered in the long spear, and he swept it out. Boom, boom, boom. A giant spear light shot into the sky and collided with Huang Wen's 10,000 wave fist force, creating a deafening explosion. Following that, Huang Wen's fist force trembled continuously and was crushed by the spear radiance. Huang Wen's expression changed drastically as he retreated to the edge of the fighting ring before he stopped. This? Many people were dumbfounded, as if they had seen a ghost. This situation was completely different from what they had expected. They had expected Huang Wen to crush Lu Ming. However, they did not expect that Lu Ming would be able to push Huang Wen back with a single strike. How could the fighting power of a 3rd stage True God be strong to this extent? Dang it. Huang Wen roared in his heart. His expression was extremely gloomy. Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded his expectations. Just this bit of strength? If you have any godly skills that you haven't used yet, use them quickly. This is your last chance. Lu Ming said indifferently, his face full of disdain. You're looking for death. I'll let you see my true strength. Vast wave saber technique. Die. Huang Wen roared. He took out a saber and charged at Lu Ming with all his might. With a slash, 10,000 layers of blade waves appeared in the void. They stacked on top of each other and headed toward Lu Ming. This was Huang Wen's trump card unique skill. Its power was extremely strong. When he executed it with his strength, ordinary stage 9 True God would be killed by him. Chapter 2788 Devil Curse, 3 Apocalyptic Strikes, Break the Sky. Lu Ming's combat strength doubled, and he used the first move of the 3 Apocalyptic Strikes, Sky Piercer. A ray of spear light shot up into the sky, and was extremely bright. Bang! 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 Huang Wen's 10,000 blade waves shattered one after another. In the end, the spear's light charged forward and clashed with the yellow text. In the next moment, All the energy fluctuations disappeared. The long spear in Lu Ming's hand also disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming landed on the fighting ring, his face expressionless. As for Huang Wen, his eyes were wide open in disbelief. A-B-L-O-O-D. Y hole appeared between his brows, and the front and back of the hole were bright. The light in his eyes quickly disappeared, and so did his life force. Plop. Huang Wen fell onto the fighting ring, no longer showing any signs of life. Huang Wen was dead. Most of the people present were dumbfounded. Huang Wen was actually killed by Lu Ming. This was beyond most people's expectations. A Stage 3 True God actually counterkilled a Stage 8 True God genius. This was also too exaggerated. Freak. Lu Ming is a freak. He's too abnormal. No wonder the sect master named him the Saint. His combat strength is so terrifying. Many people mumbled to themselves. They finally understood why Dragon Boat Mountain had conferred Lu Ming the title of Saint. Lu Ming was a freak. Without a doubt, the divine power he controlled was definitely divine grade or above. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to be so powerful. When he became a celestial god and a holy sun, it was a sure thing. Damn it. The floating light holy sun's eyes were cold. Huang Wen's death had caused him to lose a great general. Big brother. Ah! In the crowd, Huang Wu let out a mournful scream. His face was as pale as snow, and his face was filled with fear. In the outer sect of Kongxian sect, he could get whatever he wanted because of his big brother, Huang Wen. Now that Huang Wen was dead, who else could he rely on? He knew that his future days would be difficult. Clean up the fighting stage. Dragon Boat Mountain instructed, and immediately, someone went down to collect Huang Wen's corpse. Who else of you wants to fight? Lu Ming's gaze shifted to the people from the 7 major factions. Emoing, go and kill him. The Tianhong Saint Sun instructed a young man behind him. This kid won't live. A black-robed young man behind the great Hung Divine Sun said coldly. He took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring. It's him, Emoing. The Tianhong Saint Sun sent this person directly. It looks like he's determined to win. Many people were slightly shocked. In the previous sect compact, one Tian Emoing had displayed shocking power. Although he was not as good as the 8 top experts on the real god ranking list, he was not too far off. Mo Ying's cultivation was at stage 9 true god. Brat, your strength is indeed powerful. I'm indeed surprised that you could kill Huang Wen at the 3rd stage of true god realm. However, your life should end here. The specter said coldly. Huang Wen said the same thing before. Then he died. Lu Ming's simple reply made the specter's face sink. Don't compare me to that trash kill. The specter shouted and charged toward Lu Ming. However, it suddenly disappeared when it was halfway there. A speed-type godly skill? No, this is a secret technique. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. A long spear appeared in his hand, and he swept it in all directions. The spear radiance crushed over, but there was no trace of the demonic shadow. Whoosh! Suddenly, a sharp whistling sound came from behind Lu Ming. The specter was attacking him. The other party had unknowingly appeared behind Lu Ming. Get lost! Lu Ming shouted in a low voice, and his divine power gushed out like a wave. With a wave of his hand, dozens of spear gleams pierced out in all directions. Clang! An explosion was heard in one of the directions, and a figure was sent flying. Hee, it's no use. Die. The specter's figure flickered continuously. In an instant, hundreds of figures appeared on the fighting ring, circling Lu Ming. From time to time, a figure would rush toward Lu Ming, but he would always be repelled. You don't seem to be able to defeat me like this. Lu Ming sneered. Is that so? Suddenly, hundreds of figures stopped at the same time and gathered into one. My setup is complete. Lu Ming, go to H.L. Curse of the devil. Die. The specter shouted coldly. A thick black aura emanated from his body. His hands kept forming seals. In the next moment, a burst of energy suddenly burst out from Lu Ming's body. This energy was extremely evil. He did not know when it had rushed into Lu Ming's body. At this moment, it exploded and formed pitch black and menacing ghostly shadows. They roared in Lu Ming's body, wanting to devour his flesh and blood. The fiend shadow planted the fiend god ghost curse. This kid is dead for sure. The Tianhong Saint Sun sneered. The Floating Light Saint Sun, the Jixia Saint Sun, and the others all looked on coldly. Lu Ming. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng couldn't help but feel worried. Haha, Lu Ming, go to HLL. The specter laughed wildly. No one in the true god realm would be able to break the curse. Even the experts on the real god ranking list would be in danger if they were planted. Was it planted during the collision? Lu Ming muttered. Previously, the other party had collided with him continuously. Every time they collided, Lu Ming could feel a weak wisp of energy rushing into his body. As the force was not strong, Lu Ming was not too concerned. Now that he thought about it, it must be the curse of the devil. This kind of devil god ghost curse was similar to the dark dragon blood curse cast by the Dragon Boat Mountain, but its power was 108,000 miles apart. My lord! Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He unleashed his ruler's divine power at full force and enveloped the demon god ghost curse. Chi-Chi and MBSB, the ghostly figures, were like ice that had met fire. They immediately began to sizzle and quickly melt. You! How could you? How did you break my devil curse? The specter suddenly cried out in disbelief. You're using such an insignificant skill to embark yourself. Lu Ming said indifferently. His body swayed as he cast the 9 heavenly Koan Peng technique and charged at the demonic shadow. Even if you break my devil curse, you can't kill me. The demonic shadow roared, his eyes filled with ferocity. He turned into many figures and filled the fighting ring. Is that so? Lu Ming's figure suddenly landed on the fighting ring. An extremely cold divine force spread out from his feet and covered the entire fighting ring in an instant, freezing it. In an instant, the fighting ring turned into a world of ice. Mo Ying's body suddenly froze. His feet were frozen, and the hundreds of figures on the fighting ring disappeared. This is cold divine power. How did this kid manage to cultivate cold divine power? Could it be that he has already cultivated the ultimate cold divine technique to its peak? But he's only been in the sect for a few decades. Many of the inner sect elders were shocked. The divine power that Lu Ming used previously was not the ultimate cold divine power. Could it be that Lu Ming had cultivated some kind of secret skill that concealed the elemental aura of the divine power? But even so, how could Lu Ming have cultivated the divine power of ultimate frost in just a few decades? Fighting an expert on real god ranking list, don't tell me. Many people sized up the Dragon Boats Mountain and could not help but guess the relationship between Lu Ming and the Dragon Boats Mountain. Could it be that the Dragon Boats Mountain had already imparted the ultimate cold divine art to Lu Ming? Otherwise, they would never believe that Lu Ming could cultivate the ultimate cold divine technique to the peak in just a few decades. In the Kongxian sect, there were also people who had cultivated the ultimate cold divine technique to its peak and successfully cultivated the ultimate cold divine power. However, it required extremely high talent and a long time. However, they didn't know that Dragon Boat Mountain was also extremely shocked in its heart. This kid can actually control the divine power of extreme cold. Dragon Boat's heart trembled. He knew that the divine power that Lu Ming controlled was a dominator's divine power. Now he was actually using the ultimate cold divine power. Good. The stronger this kid is, the more successful that plan will be. Dragon Boat Mountain's eyes flickered. On the fighting ring, Mo Ying was extremely frightened. He tried his best to burst out, trying to break free from the ice. However, would Lu Ming give him such a chance? Lu Ming moved and appeared in front of the specter. His cold eyes made the specter shiver and break out in cold sweat. I admit defeat, I admit defeat. The specter roared madly. Did I allow you to admit defeat? Lu Ming said indifferently. He thrust his spear forward and killed the specter. CSIS. Many people gasped. The specter was dead. Huang Wen could not compare to Mo Ying. His combat strength was very strong. It was already very obvious during the sect combat. One time. However, he had also died at the hands of Lu Ming. Lu Ming's ability was shocking. Lu Ming, you are courting death. At that moment, the Tianhong Saint Sun was furious. His terrifying aura burst forth and pressed toward Lu Ming. He did not hide his cold killing intent. Tianhong, what are you doing? Nearby, Ouyang Qingxiang also released her aura to block the aura of the Tianhong Saint Sun. What do I want to do? Didn't you see that the specter had already admitted defeat? He already admitted defeat, and this brat still killed him. He's simply too audacious. Oh, kill him now. The Tianhong Saint Sun said angrily. Hee, what a joke. Before the battle, they only said that it didn't matter whether you lived or died. They didn't say that you can't kill if you admit defeat. Lu Ming said indifferently. You quibble. The Tianhong Saint Sun was furious. His body was filled with terrifying killing intent. However, Lu Ming was right. Before the battle, they did say that they would not kill anyone regardless of their life or death. They did not say that they could not kill anyone if they admitted defeat. Alright, I'm done. At this moment, Dragon Boat Mountain waved his sleeves and said, It's true that we didn't say that we can't kill if we admit defeat. Let's explain it now. In the following battles, as long as we admit defeat, we must stop. The Tianhong Saint Sun felt helpless when he heard the Dragon Boat Mountain's words. He could only cast a few cold glances at Lu Ming, and the killing intent in his eyes became even more intense. Saint, let me go and kill this brat. Another young man stepped out from behind the Tianhong Saint Sun. The Tianhong Saint Sun nodded and said, Alright, let's end this quickly. Don't give that kid the chance to admit defeat. It was obvious that the Tianhong Saint Sun was very confident in this young man. Don't worry, Saint. He won't have the chance to admit defeat. The young man said coldly. In a flash, he landed on the fighting ring. Sanguine Rain. It's Sanguine Rain who's about to attack. The young man's arrival on the fighting ring shocked many people. That was because Sanguine Rain was an expert on the Real God ranking list, one of the 8 experts on the Real God ranking list in Kongxian sect. He was also the strongest person in the Real God realm under the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. Lu Ming is going to fight with Sanguine Rain. I wonder what the outcome will be? If Lu Ming can defeat Sanguine Rain, it would be a miracle. He would be listed on the True God ranking list as a Stage 3 True God. That's right. Sanguine Rain is ranked 87th on the Real God ranking list. However, the strength of his fighting power is not something that Moing can compare to. Many people were looking forward to this battle. Many of them had already begun to guess the outcome of this battle. An expert on the Real God ranking list? Come on. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. Although he had seen the battles between experts on the Real God ranking list before, watching and fighting personally were two different things. Buzz. All of a sudden, Shuiye's figure moved. However, his figure was not charging toward Lu Ming but to the sky. In midair, Sanguine Rain's body emitted a blood-red light. Blood Rain Barrier. Sanguine Rain let out a low roar. He pushed with both hands and a layer of blood-red light shield covered the entire fighting ring. The Sanguine Rain Barrier was a secret technique that Sanguine Rain cultivated. It was extremely powerful. He used his unique skill the moment he made his move, not giving Lu Ming a chance to retaliate. Kill. Sanguine Rain bellowed. In the Sanguine Rain enchantment, endless sanguine sword gleams suddenly appeared and slashed toward Lu Ming. What can a barrier do to me? Kill. Lu Ming let out a long howl and activated the 9-layer crimson gold armor. He cast the 9 heavenly Kuan Peng technique and soared into the sky. Rays of spear radiance burst out from his hands. Boom, boom, boom. The spear radiance and the blood-red sword radiance collided with each other continuously, causing a deafening boom. Why is my divine power so heavily consumed? Suddenly Lu Ming frowned. He could feel his divine power being rapidly consumed. The same move was consuming his divine power much faster than before. Ha. Do you feel that your divine power is rapidly being consumed? Under the suppression of my barrier, your divine power will be exhausted after a few moves, and you'll be at my mercy. Sanguine Rain laughed triumphantly. Then more sanguine sword gleams appeared and attacked Lu Ming. Is that so? Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. They wanted to exhaust his divine power? You must be joking. If it had been anyone else trapped in the blood rain barrier, they would have been in grave danger, and their divine power would have been quickly exhausted. However, Lu Ming had the measure formula. Boom. Divine energy kept emerging from the Quant. One-Tai formula. Lu Ming's divine energy was always at its peak. 3 apocalyptic strikes moon cutting. Lu Ming used the second move of the 3 apocalyptic strikes. The spear struck down and a crescent-shaped spear ray slashed out. Countless blood-red sword lights were destroyed, and the terrifying crescent-shaped spear light slashed toward the blood rain. Sanguine Rain's expression changed. In a flash, he appeared on the other side of the fighting ring, avoiding Lu Ming's attack. Within the blood rain enchantment, his speed was extremely fast. Such a powerful attack. Let's see how many moves you can use. Sanguine Rain snorted coldly. Is that so? I'll break your barrier first. Lu Ming's figure soared into the sky and blasted towards the barrier. Blood God Python kill. The blood rain howled and blood-red pythons appeared in the barrier. There were more than a dozen of them, and each of them was hundreds of meters long. They charged at Lu Ming. Moon slaying. Lu Ming continued to use the moon slash and annihilated a blood-colored python with one move. However, there were more than 10 blood-colored pythons. Ha ha ha, your divine power is about to be exhausted. Why burst out laughing. Lu Ming could not be bothered with the blood rain and continued to attack. Defeating another person, Lu Ming continued to launch attacks. Moon slaying. Moon slaying. Moon cutting. Lu Ming continued to cast the moon slash. One after another, the blood-colored pythons were destroyed. Soon, the dozens of blood pythons all disappeared. At this moment, the smugness on Sanguine Rain's face had completely disappeared and was replaced by shock, confusion, and disbelief. How is that possible? How can his Shun power not be exhausted? Sanguine Rain muttered to himself. Lu Ming's attack was shockingly powerful. It was definitely a unique skill. Such a move usually consumed a lot of divine power. Even if he was outside, Lu Ming could not use it continuously. Furthermore, in his Sanguine Rain barrier, the speed of divine power consumption was several times faster than the outside due to the suppression of the barrier. Logically speaking, Lu Ming's divine power should have been exhausted. But why was Lu Ming still so lively? Sanguine Rain was already dumbfounded. Boom. Lu Ming broke through the blood python's encirclement and finally struck the Sanguine Rain barrier. The blood rain enchantment shook violently, but it didn't break. I don't believe it again. Lu Ming continued to attack, his long spear constantly blasting out. Boom. Boom. The blood rain enchantment kept shaking as if it was going to be broken at any time, but it managed to block it every time. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, with your cultivation, you can't break my barrier. You'll be beaten up passively. I don't believe that your divine power is endless. Even if I have to exhaust you, I'll exhaust you to death. Seeing that Lu Ming did not blast the Sanguine Rain barrier open, Sanguine Rain laughed and finally felt relieved. As long as Lu Ming could not break the Sanguine Rain barrier, he would be exhausted to death sooner or later. Whoosh. 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 More blood-colored sword gleams and blood-colored pythons appeared in the blood rain enchantment and charged towards Lu Ming. Just a little bit more than 4 times the combat power. Lu Ming's eyes gleamed as he activated his 4-fold combat strength. At the same time, he swept his long spear to block the attacks of the blood-red sword gleam and blood-red python. Lu Ming is in a passive position. That's right, but his strength is really shocking. He's been trapped in the blood rain barrier for so long and still has such battle power. It's really terrifying. Indeed, Sanguine Rain is no match for him in a head-on collision. What a monster! Unfortunately, his attack power is still unable to break the Sanguine Rain barrier. He will eventually be defeated by Sanguine Rain. It's a bit of a pity. In the Sanguine Rain enchantment, as long as the enchantment could not be broken, the Sanguine Rain could take the initiative and stand in an invincible position, exhausting the opponent to death. Many people felt that Lu Ming's fate was sealed since he could not break the Sanguine Rain enchantment. He would lose without a doubt. Kill, kill, kill. Sanguine Rain's body continued to burst with blood-red divine power, raising the power of the Sanguine Rain barrier to its peak. Countless blood-red sword cheese and blood-red pythons charged towards Lu Ming. At this moment, a low rumble came from Lu Ming's body. The fighting spirit in his body suddenly increased. The battle formula had been successfully activated. Moon slaying. Lu Ming let out a long howl and cast the moon-cutting move again. However, the power this time was much stronger than before. Bang, bang, bang. A crescent-shaped attack burst out, and all the blood-red sword light and blood-red pythons were destroyed. Break. After Lu Ming destroyed the blood-red sword gleam and the blood-red python, he swept his long spear out again. This time, it was aimed directly at the blood barrier. Boom. There was a violent explosion. Then the blood rain enchantment was pierced through, split into two, and exploded. How is that possible? Sanguine Rain roared in shock. It was simply unbelievable. Lu Ming clearly could not break the Sanguine Rain barrier earlier. How did he manage to do it again in the blink of an eye? Could it be that Lu Ming had been hiding his abilities? Not good. Retreat, retreat. Reacting, Sanguine Rain's figure retreated frantically. However, how could Lu Ming allow him to retreat? He cast the 9 heavenly Kuan-Pung technique. In a flash, he quickly chased after the blood rain and attacked with the moon-cutting technique. The Sanguine Rain enchantment shattered and was no longer within the enchantment. The speed of the Sanguine Rain had been reduced by many times. It could not compare to Lu Ming at all and could not avoid Lu Ming's attacks. It could only resist with all its might. A blood-red armor appeared on his body, covering his entire body. Then a sword appeared in his hands, and he slashed out. Clang! Lu Ming's attack landed on Sanguine Rain's combat sword. Sanguine Rain's combat sword trembled violently and finally exploded with a bang. This was a middle-grade divine artifact, but it was shattered by Lu Ming. Sanguine Rain's figure retreated rapidly, and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. He was severely injured. I admit defeat, I admit defeat. Just as Lu Ming was about to launch another attack and kill Sanguine Rain in one fell swoop, Sanguine Rain hurriedly shouted. He felt that he would definitely not be able to withstand Lu Ming's next move. When the next move was unleashed, he would die. If he did not admit defeat now, when would he? Sanguine Rain admitted defeat and Lu Ming had no choice but to stop. Sanguine Rain quickly retreated from the fighting ring, blood still spurting out of his mouth. A deep wound appeared on his chest. Even his armor had cracked, and his bones could be seen. This was all thanks to Lu Ming's move just now. Sanguine Rain has lost. My god, Stage 3 True God actually defeated an expert on the real god ranking list. This is too heaven-defying. Many people gasped in shock. The Tianhong Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun and the others were also shocked. They looked terrified. Lu Ming was too heaven-defying. In a few more years, they would have nothing to do with the Kongxian sect. Even the Supreme Holy Sun, who had been calm all this time, became extremely serious. Amazing. Lu Ming is too amazing. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng muttered to themselves. Boss is mighty. In the crowd, Anhai, Lu Chong, and a few others were also watching. At that moment, their eyes were shining, and they were abnormally excited. They had already submitted to Lu Ming. The stronger Lu Ming was, the happier they would be. As for the outer sect disciples, they were all dumbfounded. Some people looked down on Lu Ming when he first joined the sect. However, they were not even fit to carry his shoes now. Moreover, only a few decades had passed said. Are there any more battles? Hurry up and come down. Lu Ming stood on the fighting ring and shouted. At this moment, his combat strength was at its peak, and he didn't want to waste any time. Everyone looked at each other. The Tianhong Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the others all looked gloomy. Xueyu was the strongest true god in the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. He had no one else to send. The Sacred Sun of Reflection and the others had some subordinates, but they were not confident that they could defeat Lu Ming. Just now, Lu Ming had completely crushed Sanguine Rain after the battle. Therefore no one made a move for a while. Was Lu Ming really going to become the 8th saint of Kongxian sect today? Many people had such thoughts. Long Xian, you can make your move. At this moment, a majestic voice rang out. It was the Supreme Holy Sun. Chapter 2791 Scorpion Tail Secret Technique. The Supreme Holy Sun's voice rang out, causing many people's hearts to race. The Supreme Saint was going to send someone to attack, and he was actually going to send Long Xian. Long Xian was the #1 true God stage expert under the Supreme Holy Sun. He was also the #1 true God stage expert in Kongxian sect, and was ranked 6th on the True God ranking list. The Supreme Holy Sun was actually going to send out Long Xian, the eyes of the Tianhong Saint Sun, the sacred sun of reflection, and the others lit up. Yes, Saint. Behind the Supreme Holy Sun, a thin young man in a black robe nodded. His figure flashed, and he appeared on the fighting ring. Long Xian is about to make his move. There's going to be a good show. Many people revealed looks of antic 1p Asian. They all wanted to know if the dragon barrier could stop Lu Ming's winning streak. There was no doubt about Long Xian's power. He was ranked 6th on Real God ranking list, and he was definitely far above Xueyu. Xueyu was merely ranked 87th on Real God ranking list. It'll give you some time to rest and recover. Long Xian looked at Lu Ming and spoke indifferently. Even though Lu Ming had displayed shocking strength, he still had great confidence in himself. No, let's fight now. Lu Ming said. It seems that you are very confident. In that case, don't say that I took advantage of you. Be careful. Long Xian reminded him as a pitch-black spear appeared in his hand. Long Xian's weapon was also a spear. Bang. Long Xian stomped on the ground heavily. His body was like a stream of light as he charged toward Lu Ming. A black spear ray shot out like a shooting star toward Lu Ming. 3 apocalyptic strikes break the sky. Lu Ming also thrust his spear. Boom. The 2 spear lights collided in the void, creating a shocking boom, and setting off a violent airflow that scattered in all directions. At the same time, the 2 figures floated back. The collision this time was a tie. Sacred grade divine power. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The divine power that Long Xian controlled was divine grade divine power. This person's cultivation had already reached the peak of the true God realm, and he was only 1 step away from the celestial God realm. As long as he entered the celestial God realm, he would be qualified to become the next saint. There was no need to doubt his combat strength. If not for the fact that Lu Ming had cultivated the universal myriad Tao mantra, had 5 divine flames in his body, and had extremely powerful divine energy, he would not have been able to fight against Long Xian with only 1 kind of ruler's strength and such a huge difference in cultivation. Even now, Lu Ming's combat power was 4 times stronger after activating the battle character formula. They were equally matched in the collision just now. Amazing, really amazing. 3rd stage True God actually has such combat power. This is still the first time I've seen it. Again. Long Xian's eyes were filled with surprise as he charged toward Lu Ming again. This time, the power he used was even stronger. His attack skill has already reached the peak of the 5th level. Lu Ming's gaze was solemn. Long Xian's offensive divine skill had already reached the peak of the 5th level. It was 1 level higher than Lu Ming's divine skill. Fortunately, Lu Ming had the support of the battle character formula. Any divine skill that he used would be much more powerful. Otherwise, it would be difficult to resist. 3 apocalyptic strikes moon cutting. Lu Ming held the spear with both hands, and swung it down with all his might. A crescent-shaped spear gleam slashed at Long Xian. Boom. The 2 of them clashed for the 2nd time, but this time, it was still difficult to determine the winner. Amazing again. Long Xian let out a long roar, and continued to charge at Lu Ming. Lu Ming also exerted his strength to the extreme. The divine power of 5 divine flames, 4 times the combat power of the battle character formula, and an exceptionally powerful divine body. Every trace of power was used to fight Long Xian. The 2 of them fought intensely on the fighting ring, and exchanged more than 100 moves. Lu Ming did not cast the ice chain because he knew that Long Xian had a secret skill that he had not cast as well. He had seen it during the sect compact. One time, whoosh! All of a sudden, a pitch-black ray of light burst out from Long Xian's body, and shot toward Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. They're here. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. At this moment he was highly focused. With a single thought, an ice chain flew out and flew toward the black light. Nail. The ice chain collided with the black light and a clang was heard. However, Lu Ming's expression changed as the ice chain shattered during the collision. The ice chains could not stop the black light at all. After the black light broke the ice chains, it continued to stab toward Lu Ming at an alarming speed. Lu Ming could clearly see that it was a scorpion's tail. There was a black thorn at the tip of the tail. It was black and shiny, extremely terrifying. This was the secret technique of dragon peril. Bang! The scorpion tail was too fast and it hit Lu Ming in the next moment. The 9-layer crimson gold armor on Lu Ming's body shook violently. It could not withstand the attack and was pierced through. Lu Ming executed the 9 heavenly Kuan Peng technique and retreated rapidly. However, he was still a step too late. He felt a sharp pain in his body. His shoulder had been struck, and a small hole had appeared. Blood was flowing out. Lu Ming flew all the way to the edge of the fighting ring before he stopped. What a powerful secret technique. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Long Xian's scorpion tail secret technique had an astonishing offensive power. It was not that Lu Ming's ice chain was inferior to his opponent's. It was just that Lu Ming's current cultivation level was too weak. The secret skill would become more powerful as the cultivator's cultivation level increased. If Lu Ming's cultivation reached the 9th stage True God realm, the power of the ice shackles would naturally be extremely shocking. Interesting. There aren't many True God realm experts who can take one of my attacks without being injured. Again, Long Xian's voice was heard. Before he could finish his sentence, he was already charging towards Lu Ming. The scorpion tail on his body turned into a bolt of black lightning and stabbed at Lu Ming. Ice chains. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and a few ice chains flew out at once. This time, Lu Ming used 3 ice chains in total. The 3 ice chains were like 3 silver snakes as they flew towards the enemy. Ding, 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 ding. There were 3 consecutive sounds of collision. This time, Lu Ming finally managed to block the scorpion tail attack. He actually blocked it. That's a secret technique, ice chain. Some people recognized Lu Ming's secret skill. Such a secret skill was available in the Sutra library. Anyone could exchange for it as long as they had points. 3rd stage True God, the power of the ice shackles is already so strong. This is already grand completion. An inner court elder sighed. How does he cultivate? If he wants to cultivate the ice shackles to the large success stage, the cold moonstone is the best choice. Could it be that he has obtained several cold moonstones? How is that possible? The other inner court elder was even more envious. This was because he had also cultivated the ice shackles. However, he had cultivated it for many years and had not achieved great success because he did not have the suitable materials. On the fighting ring, the intense battle between Lu Ming and Long Xian continued. The scorpion tail and the ice chains kept colliding. The long spears in their hands also kept clashing. However, they were still evenly matched. I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You're the first one to force me to use my ultimate move, Kong Xian Sect. Long Xian's voice resounded. In the next moment, another black light burst out from his body. Chapter 2792 Becoming a Holy Sun. A black light burst out from Long Xian's body like lightning. Another scorpion tail. The Dragon's Bane's secret technique was actually somewhat similar to the ice chain. It could be used with more than just a scorpion tail. In the previous sect compat 1. Tian, Long Xian had only used 1 scorpion tail to end the battle. No one knew that Long Xian could actually use a second one. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Fortunately, Lu Ming had held back. He did not use the full power of the ice chain. Ice chain go. Lu Ming waved his hand and 3 more ice chains flew out. A few consecutive clashing sounds were heard, and they successfully blocked the scorpion tail. You've actually reached the level of mastery in all 6 of the frozen shackles. This time Long Xian himself was shocked. You're already surprised. Let's continue. Lu Ming waved his hand again, and 9 ice chains appeared on his body. They flew out and wrapped around Long Xian. 9. Long Xian's pupils contracted and he let out a low growl. His body emitted a black light and another scorpion tail flew out from his body. 3 scorpion tails. Long Xian had actually cultivated 3 scorpion tails. The 3 scorpion tails and the 9 ice chains kept clashing. Clang, clang. A dense collision sound rang out, and in an instant, the 2 had exchanged more than 100 moves. So powerful. These 2 are both monsters. Long Xian is a monster, But Lu Ming is even more of a monster. Lu Ming and Long Xian had revealed their trump cards, shocking the audience. Even the inner sect elders could not remain calm. On the fighting ring, two figures were constantly flashing, constantly colliding, and fighting fiercely. Those with weaker cultivations couldn't even see the two of them clearly. Not long after, the two of them exchanged hundreds of moves before they separated and stood on different sides of the fighting ring. Who won? The crowd was curious and looked at the two of them carefully. Look, Long Xian's aura is even weaker. His body is covered in a layer of frost. Someone exclaimed. Everyone looked over and saw that Long Xian's body was covered in a layer of frost. Even his hair and eyebrows were covered in a layer of frost. I've lost. At this moment, Long Xian spoke up and actually admitted defeat. He looked at the 9 flying ice chains behind Lu Ming with a deep fear. One of the ice chains, in particular, emitted a shocking amount of cold air. After the continuous collisions, he felt that the blood in his body was about to freeze. He needed to divert a large amount of divine power to resist the cold air. If the battle continued, he would definitely not be Lu Ming's match. What? Long Xian admits defeat. Lu Ming has won. Long Xian's admission of defeat caused an uproar in the crowd. This result was truly beyond everyone's expectations. Previously, many people looked down on Lu Ming. They thought that Lu Ming, who was a third-stage true god, would be crushed in minutes. But now even Long Xian, who was ranked 6th on the real god ranking list, was not Lu Ming's match. Was Lu Ming still human? If you manage to cultivate the 4th scorpion tail, I will definitely not be your opponent. Lu Ming replied politely. Long Xian's strength was truly shocking. Lu Ming had already given it his all, but he still did not have much of an advantage. He had to rely on the terrifying cold chi in the 9th ice chain to suppress Long Xian a little. If the other party had a 4th scorpion tail, Lu Ming would not be a match for it. This battle made Lu Ming understand that he could not underestimate the heroes of the world. There were countless divine techniques and secret skills in the universe. It was normal for some extremely powerful freaks to be born. A loss is a loss. Besides, it's not easy to cultivate a 4th scorpion tail. I'm convinced of my loss. Long Xian was an open and honest man. After cupping his fists, he left the fighting ring. Do you guys still want to fight? Lu Ming scanned his surroundings again, but there was no response. What a joke. Long Xian had been defeated. Who else in the true god level could fight Lu Ming? If he went up, he would definitely be defeated. Is there anyone else who wants to go up and fight? The Dragon Boat Mountain asked. Still no one answered. Alright, since no one is willing to accept the challenge, Lu Ming is officially the saint as per our agreement. Dragon Boat Mountain announced. The Tianhong Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the others all looked extremely gloomy. The Tianhong Saint Sun and the Sacred Sun of Reflection had suffered a double loss. They had each lost a genius. This is just the beginning. It's not that easy to secure the position of the saint. The Tianhong Saint Sun snorted. Congratulations, congratulations. Congratulations, Holy Sun Lu Ming. Seeing that the Dragon Boat Mountain had already made the announcement, some of the inner sect elders cupped their fists and congratulated Lu Ming. Of course, there were also some inner elders who looked gloomy and didn't say anything, like Ying Song's master. Seniors, you're too polite. Lu Ming could only give a fist salute in response. In truth, he really didn't care much for this saint child. However, the Dragon Boat Mountain had forced him to do so, and he had been cursed with the dark dragon blood curse. He could only obediently listen to their orders. Alright, this matter ends here. This year's compet. 1. Tie-in is officially over, the Dragon Boat Mountain announced and turned to leave. Before he left, he cast a glance at Lu Ming. Lu Ming could clearly see that the Dragon Boat Mountain's eyes were filled with antic 1p. Asian and a terrifying ferocity. This old man, what is he planning? Lu Ming furrowed his eyebrows tightly. After Dragon Boat Mountain left, the inner sect elders also left one after another. Lu Ming, no, Holy Sun Lu Ming, congratulations, congratulations. Yu Linglong immediately came up to congratulate him with a smile. Brother Lu, congratulations. Wu Zifeng also cupped his fists and congratulated. You guys don't have to congratulate me. I don't want to be the saint yet, Lu Ming said helplessly. When the other disciples heard this, they were filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred. They wished they could stomp on Lu Ming a few times. They didn't want to be the saint, but they didn't. It was too infuriating. Haha, it's too early to be happy. A cold voice was heard. The Tianhong Saint Sun walked over with his people. Tianhong, what are you doing? Ouyang Qingxiang also brought people over to confront the Tianhong Saint Sun. Don't worry, I won't make a move. The Tianhong Saint Sun glanced at Ouyang Qingxiang, and then at Lu Ming. To become a saint, you have to establish your own faction and expand the strength of your faction. Only then can you partake. 1p. 8 in the compact. 1. Tie-in for the position of sect leader. The Tianhong Saint Sun then looked around and said, I, Tianhong, hereby declare that whoever joins Lu Ming's faction will be my enemy. A threat, a blatant threat. The Tianhong Saint Sun was threatening everyone. Anyone who joined Lu Ming's faction would be his enemy. One could imagine the consequences of making an enemy of the Tianhong Saint Sun. Tianhong, don't you think you're being too despicable by doing this? Ouyang Qingxiang coldly replied. Holy Sons 3. What do you mean by despicable? In this world, there is only the winner takes all. How can you call it despicable? The Tianhong Saint Sun sneered, and didn't take it seriously. That's right, Tianhong's meaning is also my meaning. At that moment, another voice was heard. The sacred son of reflection had also walked over. His voice reverberated throughout the area. I, floating light, also declare that whoever joins Lu Ming's faction will be my enemy. The two saints' words silenced the crowd. Initially, there were some neutral people who did not join any factions. However, after seeing Lu Ming's amazing talent, they were already tempted to join him. However, at this moment they were all hesitating. If they joined Lu Ming's sect, they would have to face the retaliation of the sacred son of reflection and the Tianhong sacred son. Could they bear the risk? Many people secretly shook their heads and gave up on the idea of joining Lu Ming. Lu Ming's cultivation base was still too weak. Although he was invincible among true gods could not be compared to celestial gods. True gods were unrivaled. Even heavenly gods were no match for them, let alone top geniuses like the Tianhong Saint Sun and the sacred son of reflection. I, Wuxia, also have the same intention. I, Shuetan, am the same. Then, the Wuxia Saint Sun and the Shuetan Saint Daughter stepped forward one after another, expressing the same thoughts as the Tianhong Saint Sun and the Transient Light Saint Sun. Lu Ming's talent was too strong, and it made them feel great pressure. He must not let Lu Ming grow. The best way was to suppress him before he grew up. Without the support of the others, no matter how strong Lu Ming's cultivation was, it would be difficult for him to become the sect leader of Kongxian sect. After 4 consecutive statements from the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins, those who wanted to join Lu Ming's faction had completely given up on the idea. These fellows. Lu Ming glanced at the Tianhong Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the others with a cold glint in his eyes. Although he did not care about the position of the saint, and did not want to be the sect leader of the Kongxian sect in the future, he was still a saint. However, it was not Lu Ming's style to not resist when he was being bullied. Now, if there's anyone who wants to join my faction, I, Lu Ming, swear that I'll treat you with sincerity and entrust you with important tasks. If you want to join my faction, you can come and sign up. Lu Ming's voice was heard by everyone. Many people were tempted. If they joined Lu Ming now, they would definitely be put in an important position and be entrusted with important tasks. Moreover, if Lu Ming were to develop further, the people who join now would definitely be his trusted aides. However, if they joined now, they would be going against the Tianhong Saint Sun and the others. They would be courting death. In the end, many people shook their heads and dispelled the idea. Lu Ming, I'll join your faction. Yu Linglong walked out and glared at the Tianhong Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the others. The Tianhong Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the others' faces darkened. However, they knew that Yu Linglong's background was extraordinary, so they naturally wouldn't say anything. I'll join too. Wu Zifeng also ran over to join in the fun. However, other than the two of them, no one else stepped forward. Hee. The Tianhong Saint's son was about to sneer and mock him, but he was interrupted. "I'll join," a deep voice was heard. Anhai walked out of the crowd and flew toward Lu Ming. The Tianhong Saint's son's sneer was stuck in his throat. His face was extremely ugly as he looked at Anhai with a cold gaze. Anhai's expression changed when he was met with the Tianhong Saint's son's gaze. He felt immense pressure, but he gritted his teeth and went to Lu Ming. "Boss, I want to join your faction." "All right." Lu Ming nodded. He quite agreed with the big guy Anhai. Who is this kid? He has the guts to join Lu Ming's faction. Does he want to die? Someone muttered. The Tianhong Saint's son, the Transient Light Saint's son, the Jixia Saint's son, and the Shuetan Saintess had just said that joining Lu Ming's faction would be going against them. They had just finished their words when Anhai jumped out and joined Lu Ming. This was like a slap to their faces in public. If this wasn't seeking death, what was? "Lu Chang, Xiaofeng, what are you two doing? Hurry up and join the boss faction." And MBSB Anhai looked at Lu Chang and Xiaofeng. Lu Chang's and Xiaofeng's faces were white as snow, and their eyes were filled with struggle and hesitation. In the end, the two of them gritted their teeth and walked out, saying, "We're willing to join Lu Ming's faction. Holy Son Lu Ming, please fulfill our wish." Back then, they had all sworn on their life source to pledge their allegiance to Lu Ming. Now they could only bite the bullet and do it. "All right, I agree to let you join." Lu Ming nodded. The expressions of the Tianhong Saint's son, the Transient Light Saint's son, and the others turned even colder. Their eyes were filled with killing intent as they kept glancing at Anhai and the others, causing them to break out in cold sweat. Good, you three, very good." The Tianhong Saint's son glanced at Anhai and the other two and said okay several times. Then, he waved his sleeves and turned to leave. The Floating Light Saint's son, Jixia Saint's son, and Shuetan Saint daughter didn't say anything. They all turned and left. In the end, apart from Anhai, Lu Chang, Xiaofeng, and a few others, no one else joined Lu Ming's faction. However, Lu Ming was not in a hurry. No one was joining now, but that didn't mean that there wouldn't be in the future. It was still uncertain who would have the last laugh. "Let's go." Lu Ming did not stay. He turned and left, followed by Anhai and the rest. The Kongxian Sect Compact. 1. Tian had just ended. Lu Ming's name had shaken the Kongxian Sect from then on, and even spread to other sections. On the way, Lu Ming gave Anhai, Lu Chang, Xiaofeng, and the others some resources and told them to cultivate properly when they returned. Lu Ming would not mistreat anyone who had joined him under the pressure of the Tianhong Saint's son and the others. After that, Lu Ming returned to his residence alone and cultivated in peace. Could it be that this little fellow is about to evolve? He had only been back for 2 days when Qiuqiu started to change. It flew out of Lu Ming's wrist and landed in the courtyard, turning into a metal ball. Lu Ming could feel a terrifying aura lurking inside, as if it was going to explode at any time. On Qiuqiu's surface, arcs of lightning appeared. Ever since Qiuqiu bit off a piece of bronze from the Bronze Gate a few years ago on the ancient God Star, it had been in a deep sleep. It seemed to be digesting that piece of bronze, and it was only now that there were changes. Lu Ming was looking forward to it. The bronze door that had appeared on the ancient God Star must have had an astonishing origin. Even many divine kings could not break it open, so it was obvious. Lu Ming could not tell what kind of changes Qiuqiu would undergo after it digested the bronze. Someone's coming. At this moment, Lu Ming's gaze flickered and he walked out of the courtyard's entrance. A figure landed in front of Lu Ming. It was an old man with white hair and a white beard. "Greetings, elder." Lu Ming cupped his fists. He could tell that the old man was an inner sect elder from his attire. "Holy Son Lu Ming, you're too kind." The old man didn't dare to be slow and quickly returned the greeting. Supreme profound divine technique in the Kongxian sect. The status of a saint was even higher than that of an inner sect elder, so the elder did not dare to be careless. "Elder, why are you looking for me today?" Lu Ming asked. "I'm here today to give the Holy Son's Holy Son token to Holy Son Lu Ming." The old man smiled, took out a jade box and handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took the jade box and opened it, only to discover that it was a token. This token was very similar to their disciple's token, but the material was completely different. The token was made of the extremely rare star sky gold. Stardust sky gold was a precious material that could be used to refine supreme-grade divine artifacts. What was a supreme-grade divine weapon? It was a divine weapon used by divine kings. From this, one could see how precious this token was. Saint, you just need to drip a drop of blood on it, and this token will be bound to you, the old man said. Lu Ming understands. Thank you, elder. Lu Ming nodded. The old man nodded secretly. He was quite satisfied with Lu Ming's attitude. The other holy sons and holy virgins were all extremely arrogant. When they saw their inner sect elders, they would also act high and mighty. Lu Ming's humble attitude had left a good impression on him. It's a pity that his cultivation is still too low. I don't know if he'll have a bright future if he's competing with the Tianhong Saint Sun and the Sacred Sun of Reflection. I can consider joining his faction when his cultivation is higher, the old man thought to himself. Holy Son Lu Ming, there's one more thing. You can choose any divine grade technique you want to cultivate in the scripture's depository. However, you've already mastered the divine grade divine power, so you won't be able to use the divine grade technique. The old man reminded him again before taking his leave. He did not know that Lu Ming was overjoyed. The Son of God could freely choose a divine grade technique to cultivate. It would be strange if Lu Ming did not like it. This meant that he could cultivate another divine grade divine power. For other people who had cultivated divine grade divine power, the other divine grade techniques were naturally of little use. However, Lu Ming was different. He had the Universe Thousand Dao Scroll. The more divine techniques he had, the better. Don't be a fool. Lu Ming smiled and returned to the courtyard. He realized that Qiu was still evolving. Lu Ming left the courtyard immediately and went to the scripture chamber. The scripture chamber was still guarded by the old men. Little guy, you're here again. What kind of divine skill or secret skill do you want to exchange this time? One of the old men asked with a smile. In the past, Lu Ming had exchanged for several king-grade divine skills and techniques. He had also exchanged for the secret technique, the frost technique. He had even spent 50,000 points to exchange for the first stage of the ultimate frost divine technique. Therefore, the elders had a deep impression of Lu Ming. Seniors, I've come to receive a divine art this time. Lu Ming smiled. What? To receive the divine grade technique? The elders' eyes widened in disbelief. Little fellow, you can't joke about this. It's not that easy to obtain a saint-grade divine art. One of the old men stopped smiling and said, in order to receive the complete divine grade technique, one had to either be promoted to a holy son, or be extremely talented, and be recognized by the higher-ups of the sect. Only then could one receive the complete divine grade technique. Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the third stage of true God realm. It was impossible for him to be a holy son. They had ruled out this point. Could it be that he had been appreciated by the higher-ups of the sect, and had come here to receive a saint-grade divine art? The few elders thought so. Yes, I've just been promoted to the saint. This is my saint token. Lu Ming took out the saint token and handed it to the elders. Oh, I see. What? Saint? The saint? The few old men didn't react in the beginning, but when they finally reacted, they almost jumped out of their seats. Lu Ming was actually a saint who had just been promoted? Third stage true God actually became a holy son. This greatly exceeded their expectations. An elder took the holy son token from Lu Ming's hand in bewilderment. After checking it, he realized that there was no mistake. This little fellow, you're really a weirdo. In the end, the few elders came to a conclusion. Since you're the saint, you'll naturally be able to obtain a complete set of divine grade techniques. Which one do you want? I remember that you exchanged for the first stage of the ultimate cold divine technique. You want the ultimate cold divine technique, right? An old man took a deep breath to calm himself down and smiled. From his point of view, since Lu Ming had already exchanged for the first stage of the ultimate cold divine technique, he would definitely exchange for the complete ultimate cold divine technique this time. Otherwise, wouldn't the 50,000 points he had spent previously be in vain? He speculated that Lu Ming was most likely confident that he would become a saint and obtain the complete divine art. That was why he had exchanged for the first level in advance and cultivated it for a while. Senior, I want the great profound divine technique, Lu Ming said. There were a few divine skills and techniques in the Kongxian sect, and the Taishian divine technique was one of them. What? You want the great profound divine technique? The elders were stunned again. In the past, Lu Ming had clearly exchanged for the first stage of the ultimate frost divine technique. Why did he want to exchange for the mysterious divine technique now? Little guy, I remember that you exchanged for the first stage of the ultimate cold divine technique. How did you exchange for the mysterious divine technique now? You have to consider it carefully. An old man kindly reminded. Senior, I've already considered it. Lu Ming said. All right then, wait a moment, I'll be right back. An old man said as he stepped into the scripture chamber. Not long after, the elder took out a scroll and said it to Lu Ming. Little guy, the complete great profound divine technique is recorded inside. Take it, but I have to remind you that without the approval of the sect, you must not teach it to others. Do you understand? The old man said. This junior understands. Many thanks, senior. Lu Ming bowed and took the scroll. His heart was burning with passion. He immediately bade farewell to the few elders and returned to his residence. I'm getting old. I really can't understand the young people nowadays. The few elders sighed repeatedly. They could not see through Lu Ming at all. In their eyes, a young man seemed to be a little unfathomable. Lu Ming returned to his residence. Qiuqiu was still evolving. Lu Ming sat on the ground and took out the great mystery divine technique to read it in detail. Lu Ming did not need the complete Taishian divine technique. He only needed the first stage. As long as he cultivated the first stage, he would be able to condense a flame of Taishian divine power. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. For the past month, Lu Ming had been focused on cultivating the great profound divine technique. He had finally cultivated to the first stage, and successfully cultivated a wisp of great profound divine power. After cultivating a wisp of the mysterious divine energy, Lu Ming switched to the universe thousand Tao mantra. As time passed, the wisp of mysterious divine energy continued to grow. A few months passed, by in a hurry. A light spot suddenly appeared in Lu Ming's dantian. All the mysterious divine energy gathered towards this light spot. The light spot became more and more dazzling. Chapter 2795 Qiuqiu's evolution in Lu Ming's dantian. A spot of light grew brighter and brighter. In the end, a flame appeared. The fire of the mysterious divine power had been successfully condensed. The sixth divine fire appeared in Lu Ming's dantian. Of course, this divine fire had just been formed and was still very weak. If he wanted to raise it to the same size as the other divine fires, he would still need to cultivate diligently for a period of time. This could not be rushed. Lu Ming stopped cultivating at this point. He began to practice the divine skill, the 3 apocalyptic strikes. That was because after the series of battles, Lu Ming felt that the 3 apocalyptic strikes were about to break through. Lu Ming took out a long spear and started to cultivate in the courtyard. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The long spear danced in the air like a real dragon swimming in the courtyard. However, all of the power was condensed into the long spear, and not a single bit of it leaked out. Sky-breaking moon cutting. Lu Ming cast the first and second moves of the 3 apocalyptic strikes over and over again, taking turns. Gradually, Lu Ming's understanding of the 3 apocalyptic strikes reached a peak. After a few days, shwa, Lu Ming shook the long spear and it streaked across the sky. A crescent-shaped spearlight flew into the sky and disappeared. I've broken through. Lu Ming's eyes were extremely bright. Lu Ming had finally broken through to the 5th stage of the 3 apocalyptic strikes. After breaking through to the 5th level, whether it was the first form, sky-piercing, or the second form, moon-cutting, the power had increased by a level. Lu Ming was only at stage 3 true God realm. It was absolutely shocking that he could cultivate his divine skill to stage 5 at this cultivation level. For example, Le Zhong's cultivation base was at the peak of True God realm. He had been stuck in the True God realm for countless years, but he had only cultivated his divine skill to the peak of stage 4. People who didn't have enough talent, at the True God realm, most likely could only cultivate to the 4th stage of the divine skill. Only a few extremely talented experts could rise to a higher level. For example, Long Xian had cultivated his God technique to the 5th level. Now, if I go all out, I'm afraid I can defeat Long Xian. Lu Ming revealed a confident smile. Suddenly, Lu Ming's expression changed and he looked in Qiuqiu's direction. At this moment, Qiuqiu's body was emitting a powerful aura. This aura was extremely shocking. Fortunately, the courtyards where the inner disciples lived were protected by a large formation that could isolate the aura. Otherwise, this aura would definitely alarm others. This aura is so shocking. Qiuqiu is breaking through to the 2nd stage of True God realm. No 3rd stage True God realm. Sensing Qiuqiu's aura, Lu Ming was initially overjoyed. In the end, he was shocked and his eyes widened. That was because Qiuqiu's aura had risen too quickly. Originally, Qiuqiu's cultivation was at the 1st stage of True God realm. At this moment, it quickly rose to the 2nd stage of True God realm. After a while, it rose to the 3rd stage of True God realm, and then the 4th stage of True God realm. It wasn't over yet. Its aura was still rising. Stage 5 True God realm, Stage 6 True God realm. It only stopped when it reached Stage 8 True God realm. He had advanced from the 1st stage of True God realm to the 8th stage of True God realm in a short while. This speed was even faster than riding on an interplanetary warship. It would be strange if Lu Ming was not dumbfounded. Lu Ming was tongue-tied, thinking that he was dreaming. At this moment, Qiuqiu finally reacted. It turned its round body, and its expression was shiny and sparkling. A pair of eyes and a big mouth appeared on his body, revealing a satisfied expression. Qiuqiu, you broke through to the 8th stage True God realm? Lu Ming asked. Yes, I am. Suddenly, a figure appeared in Lu Ming's mind. You can speak? Lu Ming was stunned. No, I'm talking to you with my mind. The ball continued. Lu Ming was stunned and then nodded. Qiuqiu's cultivation was so high that it was normal for it to be able to communicate with him. One must know that in the heaven realm, even martial king realm demonic beasts could speak. Qiuqiu was very strange, but it was at the True God stage after all, so it was normal for it to communicate with its thoughts. 8th level True God. He actually directly broke through to 8th level True God. That piece of bronze door's fragment is also too heaven-defying, right? Lu Ming was amazed. It was obvious that Qiuqiu had swallowed a small fragment of the bronze gate on the ancient God star, which had caused its cultivation to skyrocket. It was only a small fragment, but Qiuqiu's cultivation had actually increased so much. If it swallowed the entire bronze door, what realm would Qiuqiu advance to? Would he be able to reach the Divine King realm? Or even more? Lu Ming's heart was burning with passion. But then he shook his head helplessly. He had asked around before and found out that the bronze door had not been opened yet. Currently, there were countless experts gathered at the bronze door. There were even many Divine King experts. Moreover, the major sects had invited a few formation masters to study and crack the formation on the bronze door. He couldn't get close to the bronze door at all. He could only think of a way in the future. Lu Ming, do you want to have a spar? Qiuqiu's voice was heard again. 2 tentacles extended from its body like arms, and it looked at Lu Ming, arrogantly. This guy good. Come, let's exchange pointers. Lu Ming smiled. He also wanted to know how strong Qiuqiu was after breaking through to the 8th tier of True God. Be prepared, I'm afraid he'll hurt you, Qiuqiu's arrogant voice continued. This fellow is really confident. Lu Ming pursed his lips and then circulated his divine energy with all his might. In his dantian, 6 divine flames started to burn. Although the mysterious divine fire had just been condensed, it was still useful in increasing Lu Ming's divine power. At the same time, Lu Ming activated the battle formula and his combat power was tripled. A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands. Come on! Lu Ming stared at Qiuqiu. Buzz. Qiuqiu's round body charged at Lu Ming. One of its arms transformed rapidly into a huge hammer and smashed at Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. The hammer smashed out, and a violent explosion rang out in the air. What a powerful force! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed the moment Qiuqiu attacked. He did not dare to be careless. Break the sky. Lu Ming thrust his spear. Boom. A spear ray collided with Qiuqiu's hammer, creating a violent boom. Buzz. Lu Ming's long spear shook violently. His body shook violently, and he was sent flying like a cannonball, crashing into the wall of the courtyard. Runes appeared on the walls of the courtyard, blocking Lu Ming. Fortunately, the courtyard was protected by a large array. Otherwise, the courtyard would have exploded. Amazing, amazing! Lu Ming's arms ached. The web between his thumb and forefinger was split open and blood was flowing out. After the collision, Lu Ming was completely at a disadvantage. The power of Qiuqiu's move just now was extremely terrifying. It was definitely not weaker than Long Xian's all-out attack. Qiuqiu is only at stage 8 true god, but its power is so strong. Its power can probably be compared to prodigies who can control divine-grade divine power. Lu Ming thought in his heart. The miserable Lu Ming in the past, Qiuqiu's power was comparable to a genius who could control divine power. But now he was one step stronger. He was probably comparable to a genius who could control divine-grade divine power. How is it? Isn't he amazing? Qiuqiu's proud voice rang out. Interesting again. Lu Ming revealed a strong desire to fight. He kept triggering the battle formula, wanting to trigger a fourfold combat power. Come on. I'll tell you. My strength is not limited to this. Qiuqiu waved its two arms, as proud as it could be. Boom. After dozens of times of triggering, Lu Ming finally triggered the quadruple combat strength. 3 apocalyptic strikes moon cutting. This time, Lu Ming really exerted his full strength and used the moon slash. Given Lu Ming's current abilities, he could probably suppress Long Xian if he used this move at full force. Its power was shocking. Buzz. A crescent-shaped spear ray slashed at Qiuqiu. I'm coming. Qiuqiu cried out and retracted its arm. Its round body turned rapidly and smashed toward Lu Ming. Clang. It was another terrifying collision. The crescent-shaped spear light collided with Qiuqiu's body. At the moment of collision, the crescent-shaped spear's gleam shook violently and shattered. Then Qiuqiu's body hit Lu Ming's long spear. Lu Ming's long spear shook violently. He felt a terrifying force surging towards him. He felt as if he had been hit by a planet. Lu Ming's body flew out once again and hit the wall of the courtyard. This time Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood. He felt as if all the bones in his body were about to break. Lu Ming, are you alright? Qiuqiu asked with concern. I'm fine. It's just a small injury. What's the big deal? Lu Ming braced himself. How could he lose face in front of Qiuqiu? Qiuqiu, is this all your strength? It's really powerful. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Qiuqiu's power was probably close to the heavenly god level. It was really shocking. He was no match for it even if he went all out. Of course not. I still have another power that I haven't used. Qiuqiu said complacently. After it finished speaking, sizzling sounds came from the surface of its body, and wisps of lightning appeared. It's this kind of lightning. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This lightning was exactly the same as the lightning on the bronze door back then, but it was much thinner. Lu Ming, do you want to try the power of my lightning? Qiuqiu blinked its big eyes and said. There was a hint of ill intention in its eyes. I'll try it, come on. Lu Ming was very confident in his defense. With a thought, 9 ice chains flew out and wrapped around him. Then 9 layers of scarlet gold armor appeared on his body. He was fully armed. Are you sure you're ready? Qiuqiu asked in a low voice. Of course. Cut the crap. Come on, you can't hurt me. Lu Ming had a look of confidence. Bolts of lightning emerged from Qiuqiu's body, and then gathered into a bolt of lightning as thick as an arm. It rushed towards Lu Ming at an alarming speed and hit Lu Ming in the next moment. Then there was an extra person in the courtyard. His body was charred black, his hair was in a mess, and smoke was constantly rising from his body. Lu Ming, are you alright? You're the one who wanted to try it. Qiuqiu said, a little scared. I'm not. I'm fine, how could I be? Lu Ming gritted his teeth. He had never expected that the lightning Qiuqiu had triggered would be so powerful. His ice chains and scarlet gold armor couldn't withstand it at all. They crumbled in an instant, and the terrifying lightning directly scorched his body. At the critical moment, Qiuqiu had probably gone easy on him. Otherwise, he would have been in an even more miserable state. Amazing, amazing! Immediately, Lu Ming was excited. The power of Qiuqiu's lightning was absolutely comparable to that of a heavenly god. Some of the weaker heavenly gods might not even be this strong. The stronger Qiuqiu was, the happier Lu Ming would be. Immediately, Lu Ming consumed a divine healing pill to recover from his injuries. He then washed up and changed into a new set of clothes. Lu Ming, are you there? At this moment, Yu Linglong's voice came from outside. From her voice, she seemed to be quite anxious. Qiuqiu transformed into a bracelet and put it on Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming walked out of the courtyard. Lady Yu, what happened? Lu Ming asked. Lu Ming, this is bad. And Hai Luchang, Zhao Feng and the others have been beaten up. They're seriously injured. Yu Linglong said. He was beaten? Lu Ming frowned and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. Who did this? Lu Ming asked. I don't know yet. I came to you after I got the news. Zifeng went to see them first. Yu Linglong said. Let's go. Lu Ming stepped into the air and flew toward the residence of Anhai and the others. Very soon, Lu Ming and Yu Linglong arrived at Anhai's residence. They pushed the door open and smelled the stench of blood. And NBSB and Hai Luchang and Zhao Feng were all here, but they all looked very miserable. Luchang and Zhao Feng were lying on the ground, their faces pale and their breathing weak. Lu Ming could tell with a single glance that their bone armor had been broken. And Hai was the most miserable. Half of his body had exploded and blood was flowing out. His internal organs could be seen. At this moment, Wu Zifeng was helping Anhai heal his injuries. Boss, Anhai struggled to bow when he saw Lu Ming. Don't move. Recuperate properly. Lu Ming quickly stopped him. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. The person who had done this was extremely vicious. If they were not in the Kongxian sect, where the other party did not dare to violate the sect rules and kill, Anhai and the others would have been dead. Even so, Anhai and the others had probably suffered quite a bit. Fortunately, Anhai and the others' injuries weren't fatal. With their divine bodies, they could recover very quickly. A few hours later, Luchang and Zhao Feng's bones had all been set back and their auras had stabilized. Anhai's exploded body was also healing rapidly, and new flesh and blood grew. Who did this? Lu Ming said coldly. Anhai, Luchang, and Zhao Feng's expressions froze, and they looked at each other. Boss, we're fine. Let's just forget about this matter. Anhai said. Let's just forget it? How can I just let this matter go? In the future, will anyone in the Kongxian sect still take me seriously? Lu Ming said coldly. He knew that Anhai and the rest were doing this for his sake. However, Lu Ming would not let it go. Who did this? Lu Ming asked again. Boss, it's still. Anhai wanted to persuade Lu Ming to stop. I'm asking you to say it in the name of the saint. Who did it? Lu Ming's tone was more serious and his voice was cold. Anhai's words came to an abrupt end. Finally, Anhai sighed and said, It was Lu Feiyun. Lu Feiyun. Lu Ming was stunned. He had never heard of this name. Killing their way to the door. Lu Feiyun is from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. Lu Chang said. It's indeed the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. Lu Ming's eyes glinted coldly, his killing intent as sharp as a knife. He had already guessed that the people who had attacked were either from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction, the Sacred Sun Floating Lights faction, or the Jixia Saint and the Shuetan Saintess. It must be one of them. Courting death, Lu Ming said coldly. Boss, don't be rash. Lu Feiyu is a first-tier heavenly god, and is the Tianhong Saint Sun's right-hand man. He's extremely powerful, and far from being comparable to Long Xian. Anhai quickly said. First-level heavenly deity? So what? Tell me his address. Lu Ming said in a commanding tone. The Tianhong Saint Sun's faction had many heavenly gods, but none of them could control divine power. Only the Supreme Holy Sun could have such a person who could become a Holy Sun by himself, and had divine power. It was just a first-level heavenly god who controlled king-grade divine power. Lu Ming might be able to fight with Qiuqiu's help. He had to get back at them for this. Otherwise, he would become the laughingstock of the Kongxian sect, and no one would dare to join his faction. And Hai Luchong and the rest did not dare to disobey Lu Ming. They obediently told him Lu Fian's address. You guys rest well. I'll get back at you for this. With that, Lu Ming turned and left. Lu Ming, wait a minute. Don't be rash. I'm afraid this is the other party's scheme. They deliberately injured Hai and the others to provoke you to attack. Once you attack, they will have a legitimate reason to attack you. Yu Linglong quickly said. It's fine. Lu Ming waved his hand and flew out. He could naturally guess the other party's goal, but the other party had underestimated his strength. Oh no, I have to inform my cousin. Zifeng, come with me. Yu Linglong said. Then, she and Wu Zifeng hurriedly flew toward Ouyang Xiangxiang's residence. In a luxurious garden in the inner court, a group of people were drinking and chatting. The leader of the group was Lu Feiyun. Ha ha ha, this time, I've tortured Lu Ming's subordinates. It's so satisfying. Indeed, those idiots were really audacious. The saint said that whoever joined Lu Ming's sect would be going against him. Those guys didn't give the saint any face and joined Lu Ming's sect in public. They're just a few dogs who don't know what's good for them. Seeing that Lu Ming has some talent, they want to suck up to him. However, they don't know that Lu Ming can't fight against the saint. He can't even protect himself. Some of the young men laughed as they drank. I wonder how Lu Ming will handle this time? Someone said. He only has two paths to take. The first is to swallow his anger. However, if he does so, his reputation will be completely tarnished. His subordinates have been abused so badly, but he still has to swallow his anger. In the future, no one will join Lu Ming's faction. He will no longer be able to compete with the saint. Second, if he comes to me for revenge, I'll beat him up and break all his bones. I'll make him kneel in front of me like a dog. Lu Feiyun sneered. This was their scheme. No matter what Lu Ming did, he would fall into their trap. What a brilliant plan. The saint's plan is truly brilliant. That Lu Ming wants to fight with the saint. He's simply courting death. The other young men began to flatter him. Lu Feiyun, get out here. At this moment, a loud roar came from outside. The entire courtyard seemed to shake. Lu Feiyun and the others were stunned. This is Lu Ming's voice. Some people were bewildered. That's right. It's Lu Ming's voice. I didn't expect that this kid would really dare to come. Good. Lu Feiyun's eyes were cold and excited. He stood up and walked out. The other young men followed. When he walked out of the courtyard, he saw Lu Ming standing alone in the void. His entire body was emitting a cold light. You're Lu Feiyun? Lu Ming's gaze fell on Lu Feiyun. Among all the people present, only Lu Feiyun gave him an unfathomable feeling. That's right. I'm Lu Feiyun. Lu Ming, why are you here? Do you want to lower your head and admit your mistakes to our saint? Haha. Lu Feiyun laughed and the other young men followed suit. Today, I will break your bones and make you kowtow to my subordinates in apology. Lu Ming said coldly. Lu Feiyun and the rest stopped laughing. They looked at Lu Ming as if he was an idiot. Break Lu Feiyun's bones and make him kowtow and apologize to his men? Where did Lu Ming get his confidence from? Oh really? Then why don't you try? Lu Feiyun's eyes shone with excitement. He was waiting for Lu Ming to make a move. Boom. A powerful aura burst out from Lu Ming's body. A powerful pressure filled the air above this area. They're about to make their move. At this moment, many figures appeared in the area, watching from afar. This area was originally where the inner sect disciples gathered. Lu Ming's loud roar earlier had already alerted the inner sect disciples in the nearby area. Lu Ming actually went to Lu Feiyun and said that he would break his bones. Is he crazy? He's indeed crazy. Lu Feiyun is a first-tier celestial deity and a capable general under the Tianhong Saint Sun. Lu Ming is too arrogant. Who cares? There's going to be a good show. It'll be fun if one of the saints gets abused. The surrounding people were discussing animatedly. Many people were waiting to watch a good show. Boom. Lu Ming did not waste any more time. He immediately attacked with all his might. During the conversation just now, Lu Ming had already started to activate the battle formula. He only made his move after he successfully triggered the quadruple combat strength. A huge spear radiance, like a mountain, pressed down on Lu Feiyun and the others. This power. Beside Lu Feiyun, the other young men were shocked. Even a few peak true god existences were scared. They couldn't resist this move at all. Only Lu Feiyun remained calm. You want to fight me with such strength? Ignorant. Lu Feiyun had one hand behind his back. He extended his other hand and struck out. A palm print flew out and hit the spear light. Boom. The spear radiance trembled violently before it shattered. The terrifying palm force charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body trembled violently and he was sent flying backward. He only stopped after he had retreated 100 miles. Is this the strength of a heavenly god? It's indeed shocking. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. Just now, the other party definitely didn't use his full strength. However, the power of his attack far surpassed, said Long Xian, who was ranked 6th on the real god ranking list. Celestial deity realm and true deity realm. There was a huge gap. Chapter 2798 Battling a heavenly god. You dare to fight me with your puny strength? Suppress. Lu Feiyun said coldly. He dashed toward Lu Ming and formed a huge palm with one hand, pressing down on Lu Ming. 3 apocalyptic strikes. Moon cutting. Lu Ming let out a long howl. His divine energy was boiling as he cast the moon cutting sword of the 3 apocalyptic strikes. A crescent-shaped spear ray slashed at the palm print. At the same time, 9 ice chains flew out of Lu Ming's body and rushed towards the palm print. Boom. An earth-shattering boom resounded, the mountains shook, and the earth trembled. Lu Ming's figure was once again thrown back 100 miles. He spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. However, he managed to block the opponent's palm print. Moreover, Lu Ming's divine body was extremely strong. Wisps of blood qi flowed out of his ancient god's heart, and Lu Ming's injuries were completely healed in an instant. Amazing! The surrounding spectators all revealed expressions of shock. No matter what the outcome was today, Lu Ming's combat strength was shocking. He could actually block Lu Feiyun's attacks continuously. Lu Feiyun's face darkened. Although he did not use his full strength, he was a celestial god-level powerhouse after all. He felt embarrassed. Said that he could not suppress Lu Ming even after a series of attacks. He was about to continue attacking, but Lu Ming had already made the first move. Now it's my turn. Lu Ming shouted coldly, and used the 9 heavenly Kuanpeng technique. In a flash, he appeared above Lu Feiyun's head. The long spear struck down with force. It was the same move as the moon cutting technique. At the same time, 9 ice chains flew down and wrapped around Lu Feiyun. Small tricks. Lu Feiyun said coldly and struck out another palm. Although he had only used one palm, more than 90% of his divine power had been unleashed. He wanted to completely suppress Lu Ming with this palm. Ball. At this moment, Lu Ming had a thought and Qiuqiu flew out directly. It turned into a huge metal ball and blasted toward Lu Feiyun. Boom. Lu Ming's attack and Qiuqiu's attack hit Lu Feiyun's palm print simultaneously. Boom. An even more terrifying vibration erupted. Lu Feiyun's palm print shook violently, and cracks appeared on it. How is that possible? Lu Feiyun's eyes widened in disbelief. He had never expected that Lu Ming could actually break his attack. Boom. Then Lu Feiyun's palm print crumbled and Lu Ming's long spear swept out. Lu Feiyun retreated quickly, but it was too late. Blood splattered everywhere. Lu Yunfei's body was cut by the spear radiance. The wound was so deep that his bone could be seen. Boom. Lu Feiyun exploded with all his might. His divine power swept out like a wave, blocking Lu Ming and Qiuqiu's subsequent attacks. Lu Feiyun is actually injured. The surrounding spectators were all stunned. He was furious. Lu Feiyun himself was furious. His entire body was filled with a terrifying killing intent. His eyes were extremely ferocious as he glared at Lu Ming. He, a dignified celestial god-level powerhouse, was actually injured by Lu Ming, a third-stage true god. This was simply an insult to him. He could not wait to tear Lu Ming into 1,000 pieces. Good, very good. Lu Ming, I'll make you beg for death today. Lu Feiyun said ferociously. His aura became even more terrifying. A pair of divine gloves appeared on his hands. Buzz. Lu Feiyun turned into a bolt of lightning and charged at Lu Ming. He struck out with both hands and several huge palm prints came at Lu Ming. They were much stronger than before. This was Lu Feiyun's true combat power. He was absolutely powerful. One must know that the divine power he controlled was king-grade divine power. It was even stronger than those first-level heavenly gods who controlled ordinary divine power. Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. He activated the 9-layer crimson gold armor and controlled the 9 ice chains. Then he cast the 3 apocalyptic strikes and charged toward Lu Feiyun. At the same time, Qiuqiu spun rapidly and attacked Lu Feiyun together with Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not ask Qiuqiu to cast that kind of lightning. It was not the time yet. That kind of lightning would only be effective at the critical moment. Boom. Boom. The two sides collided once again, and a terrifying boom erupted. Lu Ming let out a long howl, his long hair flying in the wind. He exerted all his strength to the extreme. At the same time, Qiuqiu also exploded to its limit. But even so, Lu Ming and Qiuqiu were still at a disadvantage despite joining forces. The two of them were suppressed and kept retreating. The divine power of a celestial god was extremely strong. Every move was filled with explosive power, and Lu Ming was almost suffocating from the pressure. If Qiuqiu had not withstood most of the pressure, Lu Ming would have been defeated. In the blink of an eye, the two sides had exchanged dozens of rounds. Kacha! Cracks appeared on Lu Ming's 9-layer crimson gold armor. It could not hold on any longer. The ice chains also made cracking sounds. Condense! Lu Ming shouted. Divine power gushed out from the measure formula. Lu Ming remained at his peak. The scarlet gold armor on his body glowed brightly again, and the 9 ice chains became solid. What's wrong with this kid? Lu Feiyun was shocked. Logically speaking, Lu Ming was only at the 3rd-tier true god realm. In such a high-intensity battle, his divine power should have been exhausted long ago. However, since the start of the battle, Lu Ming had been maintaining several divine skills at the same time, and was still as lively as a dragon and a tiger. He was simply a monster. Burning blood grand magic. Seeing that the battle was going on for a long time, Lu Feiyun became anxious and used his secret skill. His body was covered in a layer of fiery red blood light, as if his blood was burning. At the same time, his combat strength had also increased by several times. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming and Qiuqiu were sent flying at the same time, and they retreated rapidly. Lu Ming, in particular, spat out a mouthful of blood. Kill! Lu Feiyun roared and charged at Lu Ming. His palm turned into a claw and clawed at Lu Ming, as if he was going to break all the bones in Lu Ming's body. Come on! There was a crazed look in Lu Ming's eyes. He circulated several divine skills and secret skills with all his might, and was highly focused. The scarlet gold armor on Lu Ming's body suddenly became more solid, and the light became more dazzling. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He had broken through the 9-layer crimson gold armor, and reached the 5th layer. His defense had increased greatly. This kid, Lu Feiyun, was shocked beyond words. He had naturally noticed Lu Ming's breakthrough. So what if I've broken through? You want to block my attack? Dream on. Lu Yunfei increased his speed and attacked Lu Ming. And MBSB whoosh. 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 Lu Ming controlled the 9 ice chains and wrapped them around Lu Feiyun. The ice chain was extremely powerful against true immortal realm experts, but it was not enough to deal with Lu Feiyun, who was a heavenly god. Under Lu Feiyun's attacks, the ice chains kept breaking. Moon slaying, die. Lu Ming bellowed as he swung his long spear down. A crescent-shaped spear ray slashed toward Lu Feiyun. Suppress. Lu Feiyun was not afraid at all. He clawed at the spear ray, bringing with him a terrifying wave of energy. The saint takes action at the same time that Lu Feiyun attacked Lu Ming. Qiu also launched an attack on Lu Feiyun. However, Lu Feiyun did not pay attention to Qiu. He already knew Qiu's strength. He activated a defensive divine skill that was enough to block Qiu's attack. He had to suppress Lu Ming first before dealing with Qiu. Boom. Lu Feiyun's claw grabbed onto Lu Ming's spear radiance and shattered it. A terrifying force was directed at Lu Ming. Boom. At the same time, Qiu also smashed into Lu Yunfei's body, but it was blocked by his defensive divine skill. Now is the time. Ball, lightning. Lu Ming shouted with his mental strength. Zzz. Qiu's entire body emitted a series of electric lights, which converged into a lightning bolt as thick as an arm, and blasted toward Lu Feiyun. Boom. The bolt of lightning pierced through Lu Feiyun's defense and struck his body. Ah! Lu Yunfei shrieked in pain as his body trembled violently. He retracted half of the force that he was about to use to attack Lu Ming. His claws grabbed onto Lu Ming's scarlet gold armor and sent him flying. Even so, Lu Ming was still severely injured and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. However, Lu Feiyun was worse off than him. He didn't have much defense against Qiu. After the previous battle, he already had a clear understanding of Qiu's strength. He never thought that Qiu would have such a terrifying lightning. Therefore, Qiu's bolt of lightning struck him directly, causing his body to hurt as if it was being torn apart. His body was also numb, and for a moment it was difficult for him to move. Qiu, continue. Lu Ming roared. A heavenly god's strength was too shocking. Even if he was directly, Lu Yunfei would not be seriously injured. Now was the best time to completely suppress Lu Feiyun. Zzz. Bright lightning appeared on Qiu's body again. How audacious! Stop! The young men with Lu Yunfei roared and pounced on Qiu, trying to stop it. Get lost! Lu Ming could not care less about his injuries. He cast the 9 heavenly Kuanpeng technique and charged at the few people, sweeping his long spear horizontally. Bang! 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 Those few young men were only at true god level, and could not withstand Lu Ming's current strength. They were swept away by the spear's gleam and fell to the ground, spitting out mouthfuls of blood. One move and he was seriously injured. At this moment, Qiu's second bolt of lightning had already shot out and struck Lu Feiyun's head. Lu Feiyun screamed in pain. His body turned black, and smoke rose from his body. His body was split open. The moment blood flowed out, he was burned by the lightning and turned into smoke. Bind! Lu Ming seized the opportunity and rushed over. The 9 ice chains appeared again and wrapped around Lu Feiyun. The terrifying chill instantly froze Lu Feiyun. Bang! The ice chain lifted Lu Yunfei up and threw him heavily. Lu Yunfei fell to the ground and created a big pit. Cracking sounds came from Lu Yunfei's body. Many of his bones were broken. Lu Feiyun was severely injured and had no strength to fight back. This. The surrounding spectators were all dumbfounded. They didn't expect such an outcome. If Lu Ming, who was at true god level, went to Lu Yunfei's house to fight him, the final result would be Lu Yunfei being defeated and severely injured. I told you to kneel down and apologize to my subordinates. Now kneel down to me first, Lu Ming said coldly. He controlled the ice chain and Lu Feiyun, wanting him to kneel down. Lu Ming, you dare? Ah! Lu Feiyun howled and struggled madly. However, he was already severely injured. All his bones were broken, and he was bound by the ice chains. He could not break free at all. Plop! He was forced to kneel in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I'll kill you! Lu Yunfei shouted hysterically. His eyes were red and his killing intent was extremely cold. What are you shouting for? You should have thought of this when you injured my men. Now go and kowtow to my men and admit your mistake. Lu Ming was about to bring Lu Yunfei back to Enhai's residence so that he could kowtow and apologize to Enhai and the rest. The other side. Lu Ming was really strong and overbearing. How dare you? Let him go. At this moment, a loud shout came from the distance. At the same time, an extremely terrifying aura blotted out the sky and filled the air. The Tianhong Saint Sun. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Lu Ming knew that the Tianhong Saint Sun had arrived the moment he heard the voice. Lu Ming moved and landed beside Lu Feiyun. The next moment, a young man appeared in the sky and looked down at Lu Ming. Who else could it be but the Tianhong Saint Sun? The Tianhong Saint Sun's eyes fell on Lu Feiyun. Cold killing intent burst out of his eyes when he saw Lu Feiyun's miserable state. Lu Ming, did you know that Lu Feiyun is one of my men? The Tianhong Saint Sun's voice was cold. So what if I know? So what if I don't know? Lu Ming sneered. I'll make you pay 10 times the price for hitting my people. The Tianhong Saint Sun said. I'm afraid he'll be crippled before I pay the price. Lu Ming pointed at Lu Feiyun. You think you can use him to threaten me? You're so naive. The Tianhong Saint Sun sneered. He had just finished speaking when he disappeared. Not good. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He focused his mind, trying to capture the Tianhong Saint Sun's figure. However, at this moment, a terrifying pressure pressed down on Lu Ming's body, making him feel as if he had fallen into a swamp. Break! Lu Ming let out a long howl and burst out with all his strength. He exerted his strength to the extreme. A spear's gleam soared into the sky and broke through the surrounding pressure. However, just as Lu Ming's body regained some freedom, his 9 ice chains shook violently and suddenly shattered into pieces. Lu Feiyun was swept away by a force. Then, not far in front of Lu Ming, the Tianhong Saint Sun appeared with Lu Feiyun in his hand. What powerful strength! Lu Ming's heart sank. The Tianhong Saint Sun's strength was beyond his expectations. He had not even been able to react when the Tianhong Saint Sun had suddenly attacked and saved Lu Feiyun from his hands. Unfathomable. Lu Ming could sense that the Tianhong Saint Sun's cultivation was at least at the 3rd level of the celestial deity realm. Moreover, the divine energy he controlled was definitely of the divine grade. Lu Yunfei could not compare to him. You want to fight me with your puny strength? I'll cripple you today. The Tianhong Saint Sun was very powerful. Golden divine power danced around his body, forming a terrifying wave that pressed toward Lu Ming. Bang! 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 Lu Ming retreated continuously. He could not withstand the pressure and took more than 10 steps back. It was the same for Qiuqiu. It was pushed back by the pressure and landed on Lu Ming's shoulder. Its eyes were filled with solemnity. The battle between the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins. Kid, you're playing with fire this time. Bone Demon sighed in his sea of consciousness. Senior, is there any way for me to have the strength to fight against Tianhong? Lu Ming asked. This time, Lu Ming did not expect the Tianhong Saint Sun to arrive so quickly. However, given Lu Ming's character, even if he knew, he would still deal with Lu Feiyun. It was not in Lu Ming's character to swallow his anger. That kid is very powerful. With your current strength, there's only one way for you to fight against the Tianhong Saint Sun in a short time, and that's to burn the ancient god heart completely. That way, you'll gain great power for a short time. However, the consequence is that your ancient god's heart might disappear completely. The price to pay is extremely great. Bone sighed. Burning the ancient god heart? Will it completely disappear? Lu Ming also frowned. To be able to condense the ancient god heart was a great opportunity. This kind of opportunity could only be encountered and not sought. If it was lost, there would be no more. Lu Ming could not bear to part with it. With the ancient god's heart, his divine body could grow at all times. In the long run, the benefits were very amazing. However, if there was really no other way, he could only take a gamble. Lu Ming first of all kneeled down. The Tianhong Saint Sun looked down from above. His aura was as vast as the ocean, pressing down on Lu Ming. At the same time, he extended a palm and pressed down. A huge palm, like an ancient divine mountain, pressed down on Lu Ming. The palm had not even reached him, but the terrifying pressure was already making Lu Ming's body creak. Unable to fight, completely unable to fight. The gap between the two sides was too great. Both Lu Ming and Qiuqiu seemed very weak in front of the Tianhong Saint Sun. It seems like I can only burn my ancient god heart. Lu Ming revealed a determined look. Although the ancient god's heart was precious, it was nothing compared to his life. Come on. Lu Ming made up his mind. He was ready to go all out and burn the ancient god heart. At this moment, a delicate voice shouted, Tianhong, you're a heavenly god realm saint, but you're actually dealing with a third-stage true god. You're really shameless. If you want to fight, I'll be your opponent." Before he finished speaking, a sword light had already flown over from the distance, like a flying immortal. Boom. The sword radiance hit the Tianhong Saint Sun's palm print, and a loud boom was heard. The palm print shook and was split in half by the sword radiance. Buzz. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the distant sky. Ouyang Xiangxiang. At the crucial moment, Ouyang Qingxiang made her move. She slashed open the Tianhong Saint Sun's palm print. It was not that Ouyang Qingxiang was much stronger than the Tianhong Saint Sun. It was just that the Tianhong Saint Sun had not used his full strength in the previous attack. In order to save Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang had used even more strength to break the Tianhong Saint Sun's palm print. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. Ouyang Qingxiang had arrived. It seemed that he did not need to burn the ancient god's heart. After all, the ancient god's heart was too precious. Lu Ming could not bear to waste it unless he had no other choice. "Ouyang Qingxiang, are you trying to meddle in my business?" The Tianhong Saint Sun's face turned cold as he stared at Ouyang Qingxiang. "What do you mean by being a busybody? Lu Ming and I are friends. If you want to deal with him, you'll be dealing with me," Ouyang Qingxiang said. Do you think you can stop me?" The Tianhong Saint Sun snorted. Golden divine power radiated from his body, and his aura grew stronger. "You'll know once you try. Although you've become a saint earlier than me, you might not be able to defeat me," Ouyang Chang said coldly. An extremely powerful sword chi burst out from his body and pierced through the sky. Saintess Qingxiang and the Tianhong Saint Sun are about to make a move. It's been a long time since the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins fought each other. I'm looking forward to it. I wonder who's stronger? I don't know. Although Holy Maiden Qingxiang became a Holy Maiden later, her talent is amazing. She might not be weaker than the Tianhong Saint Sun. I didn't expect Lu Ming to be friends with Holy Maiden Qingxiang. Speaking of which, Lu Ming is indeed terrifying. If he grows up, I'm afraid he will surpass all the other Holy Sons and Holy Virgins. Only the Supreme Holy Sun can fight him. That's right. I wonder how today's matter will be resolved. More and more people were gathering in this area. Even some of the inner sect elders had appeared, and were watching from afar. Divine Dragon's great palm. Suddenly, the Tianhong Saint Sun let out a long roar. His divine power burst forth, and his hands formed seals continuously. With a wave of his hand, a huge dragon claw formed. It was incomparably huge and grabbed toward Ouyang Qingxiang. Song of the Green Lotus Sword. Ouyang Qingxiang murmured. Her sword momentum soared to the sky as she swung her sword. A green sword light burst forth and slashed at the huge dragon claw. Boom. The terrifying collision caused thousands of waves. It was as if the entire inner gate area was shaking violently. "Let's go up and fight." Ouyang Xiangxiang's voice was heard as her body turned into a green sword light and shot into the sky. Roar. A dragon's roar was heard from the Tianhong Saint Sun's body. His body suddenly changed drastically. The Tianhong Saint Sun's body became burly. His muscles bulged, and he was twice as big as before. A layer of golden scales appeared on the surface of his skin. Under the sunlight, they glowed. They were dragon scales. What was even more shocking was that the Tianhong Saint Sun had grown a tail. A dragon tail. Dragon Man race. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. He recognized the Tianhong Saint Sun's race. The Tianhong Saint Sun was from the Dragon Man race. Lu Ming had seen this race before. In the Yellow Spring world of Mount Netherworld, there was a country formed by the Dragon Man race. Divine Dragon's great palm. The Tianhong Saint Sun revealed his true form, and his combat power was even stronger. He kept using the dragon god's giant palm print. 9 golden dragon claws formed in the sky and grabbed toward Ouyang Qingxiang. Song of the Green Lotus Sword, sword shaking the world. Ouyang Qingxiang turned around, and a green sword chi shot out, slashing toward the golden dragon claw. The two of them were engaged in an intense battle, and the scene was extremely shocking. Lu Ming's expression was grave. With his current abilities, he was still far from being comparable to the Tianhong Saint Sun and Ouyang Qingxiang. It's just a 4th-level celestial deity. Lu Ming, don't belittle yourself. With your talent, you'll be able to catch up to them in a few years. The bone demon's voice was heard. It seemed to have seen through Lu Ming's thoughts. 4th-level heavenly deity? Lu Ming nodded. He wondered what the cultivation levels of the other holy sons and holy virgins of Kongxian sect were like. Buzz. Buzz. At this time, 2 figures flew over from the distance. They were Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng. Lu Ming, are you all right? Yu Linglong asked. I'm fine. Were you the ones who informed Holy Maiden Qingxiang? Thank you. Lu Ming smiled. Lu Ming's heart stirred. He knew that Ouyang Qingxiang must have rushed over after receiving the notice from Yu Linglong and the rest. It's good that you're fine. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng both nodded and looked up at the battle in the sky. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.